struggle to survive, and you're still alive. Carry on. Even if you've been misled and all of your dreams are dead. Carry on. Even if you can't forget, take a quick look and settle your regrets. Laying out the bricks now, as if you need a wall to stop the fall. Your bones are not even broken yet, so push yourself through without your regrets. Carry on. Even if you've been misled and all of your dreams are dead. Carry on. Even if you can't forget, take a quick look and settle your regrets. Blood pouring down my heart. My mind is my cage, and I'm wrapped around the bars. Carry on. And even if you've been misled and all of your dreams are dead. Carry on. Even if you can't forget, take a quick look and settle your regrets. Highly sedated, intoxicated. We're automated and overpopulated. We're all fish in a stream, swimming towards a vicious dream. Don't you know we're the walking dead? Our lives were meant to be this bleak. Somehow they got into our heads. We're wide awake, yet still asleep. We're the walking dead. sedated, intoxicated. We're automated and overpopulated. Don't you know we're the walking dead? Our lives were meant to be this bleak. Somehow they got into our heads, in our heads. We're wide awake, yet still asleep. We're the walking dead. We're the walking dead. Oh, 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 oh. We're the walking dead. We're the walking dead. Oh, 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 oh. Set me until you shimmer of light.
Good evening. Welcome to Octane Online Racing, Simrigs.com Sprint Series, round 4 from the Nurburgring. This is the Asia Pacific region, split blue and split red. I am Sean Muller, and joining me in the box, as always, on a Thursday night, is the one and only George Cook. Good evening, Cookie.
Good evening, Sean. Yeah, lovely to be here, as always.
Very excited. And as you can see, it is extremely dry at the Nurburgring.
That's the technical term, is it?
So I hope everyone's got their wellies, got their floaties, because from what we're hearing, the track is, well, moist is one word, but there are a few other words floating around as well. Floating around, see?
Very good, actually. Yeah, because I was going to say the technical term is something that we can't really repeat on stream, but flooded is probably the best word for it. It's going to make for quite an interesting race here, because the Nurburgring's challenging, even in dry conditions. So having some wet weather out here is just going to throw... a lot of caution to the wind, or maybe the caution is going to be in order.
Very much so. So basically, for those who sort of go, oh, the track's wet, what's going on here? This is pretty much our wet round for the season. Definitely one of the wet rounds. So basically no dry running at all. All the practice servers have been wet. So everyone's just been trying to get their duck legs on, or duck feet. We'll go with duck feet. Trying to learn wet conditions. So this should be an absolute ripstorm. Looking forward to this tonight.
It's going to be brilliant. Yes, we've got We're about to jump into qualifying right now, so we will get started momentarily. We've got our usual qualifying period, and yeah, I don't know what kind of lap times we're going to be seeing today. Flooded conditions, of course, so everyone's going to be pushing in the wet as much as possible. It's going to be very challenging, though. I mean, already you can see how turn 1 is being navigated by Ethan Kell. We'll go through our results in just a moment, but Kale put on a brilliant performance last time out.
Was very, very impressive last time out in wet conditions as well. So he is the raging red hot favourite, I think, for tonight in the Lamborghini, which actually doesn't mind the wet. So really look forward to seeing how Kale goes. Of course, there are some other drivers that will try their absolute hardest to try and stop Kale storming off into the distance. But as qualifying is underway, we've got 40 minutes to get through a few sort of housekeeping items. But other than that, enjoy qualifying. I'm pumped. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. So just looking back at Kyle Army for round 3, and just to bring you your top 10 in the results. Kale, of course, who we just mentioned, he took out pole position. He took out the race win there and bagged himself 153 points with the fastest lap as well. Really impressive. P2 was Joshua Vettiger. And then we've got in P3, Chris Taylor. Good drive from him. Scott Blair in P4. Bendik in P5. McKellar in P6. Thistlewaite, who had a brilliant drive in the Mercedes. P7, Jamie Comboy, P8, not where we'd expect him on the grid, although that McLaren was pretty tricky to navigate at Kyalami. P9 to Penfold, and Steve Lewis in P10. So it was quite the race, actually, and the results got all mixed up, and now we've got Kale, who's actually leading Split Blue Championship.
He certainly is. So Kale is leading the way, who's got a 13 point gap over Conboy. Joshua Vettiger there in third. Scotty Blair in fourth. Jake McCullough in fifth, who is our top silver driver. Cameron Thistlethwaite, who is our second in silver and sixth overall. Christopher Taylor, Shay McLaws, Mitchell Bendick, and Shawnee Bubnell are our top 10. Leading Pro-Am is Steve Lewis from Ashley Vettiger and Neil Wood, and Afeda Sebi is leading in the AM class from James Lawrence and Bernard Ring. So in terms of lap times, just completely going off track here, but in terms of lap times, I've heard everything from a 208 to a 210 to a 212 to a 203 if the track's a bit drier. So in other words, we've got no idea.
Yeah, correct. I mean, the usual lap times here, well, the best I've seen so far in practice in the dry, I should mention. And
wow.
That was nearly a moment there for Kale. Well controlled, though. Crikey. If you get on those green strips, it's all over, but that was some extreme car control. In the dry, 1 minute 53s are about the top times we're going to see. Might see some even better times in the GT3 Cup, which is happening tomorrow. We'll talk more about that later on, though. So, yeah, 10 to 20 seconds off the fastest dry times I think we'll be seeing. But as you said, we've got no clue. It's going to be all to play for.
And just to add, a bit more, difficulty to this, the race is going to be at 8 p.m. And for those that know the Nurburgring, it gets dark at around 8 p.m.
Yeah, I'm not noticing a huge number of lights on circuit either. It's very tricky out there in the wet, and even trickier when it's nighttime.
So strap in, because I'm calling it now. This is going to be prime content, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, we may be looking at probably one of the best rounds of the season so far. Of course, this is round 5? No, hold on, round 4. So we've got 6 more rounds after this to go. So, I mean, what a season we're going to have. It's just brilliant. This is going to be peak content, though, as you say. So, yeah, I'm going to keep my eye, though, not only on Kale in the top 3 or 4. I've been looking down towards the Pro-Am category and the Am category today. See who's got the chops and the wets. I think that's going to be interesting.
So we're looking at Kale here. We might get our first indicative time, and this will be a quick time. It'll probably be really hard to beat as he goes across the line with a 206.8. Bloody hell.
What a way to start. Crikey.
The track condition is wet, so it's not full wet. It's wet, but it's not fully wet. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, we can work with that, yeah. Just to give everyone the information, if the track gets any wetter than wet, it's usually called flooded. That's the technical term that you might hear, hopefully not to the rest of the race. We're expecting wet conditions throughout the race, but whether or not it'll get back to flooded, we'll see. On board now with McLaws and now Preciado. Preciado
What's that?
gone and done a 207.3.
Very good lap there from Appreciato. That's bit of a surprise, that one. He's got that Porsche hooked up really nicely. Of course, the Porsche is not too bad in the wet. With the rear traction, it's really great when you get the power down. Gets a little sketchy through the mid-corner, but of course, it is a Porsche, so it sounds great as always. We are on board with Appreciato at the moment, currently sitting there in second position from Shawnee Glover, Jamie Conboy, Beg Vetiger, Sebi. Ben Deek now pops up in the sixth position with a beautiful Lorenz out of nowhere. Our Am goes into fifth position now. What a fantastic lap.
Oh, this is exactly what I'm talking about and why I want to keep an eye on these AM and Pro-Am drivers, because in the wet, might be fast, you might be a pro or silver class driver, and really up there in terms of your dry times, but the wet weather really just throws everything out the window, and you can see some of these lower category drivers really put in some great times. That is brilliant from Lawrence. Donking time. And got Lewis as well down the order, 1.6 seconds off the pace at the moment. Not a bad lap, certainly.
So just I'm looking just sort of up and down the totem pole here and seeing Joshua Vetiger down there in currently 23rd position, who's third in our championship at the moment. So he needs to get his skates on. Aha, very good. Actually, we're on board with him now. Thank you, race director. And he's got some traffic here in front of him. If that traffic is on a lap, so that's going to really hurt Vetiger here. And he, of course, cannot pass. So he's just maybe back it off a little bit, and then wind it up again for another crack. We'll see what he does here.
That's usually the strategy. I mean, following in the wet, really, really challenging, of course, with the spray that comes off the rear diffuser of these cars. And as you said, no overtaking allowed during qualifying. So probably the better idea, just to back off, give himself a bit of space and go for another run. But Joshua will be well aware of that.
So, oh, geez, look, that corner there. So really tricky. That's our, of course, at Van Bogen. And coming through there in the wet, you can feel the front end just slide. You can take it flat, but it's a 50-50 proposition sometimes.
Yeah, there is a bit of runoff area at the outside of the exit, but it's not a lot, and it's going to be pretty greasy out there too. Do you have a yellow on track? But 7 minutes to go in this qualifying as Vetiger does now get ahead of the traffic, and we'll go into T1 to begin another hot lap. He's still got more traffic to navigate, though, so getting yourself all organised and, bye-bye, Bollard. Luckily, that's not a braking zone, braking marker for anyone, but nonetheless, you've got to go for your lap here, and let's see what he can do.
As Conboy now pops up in the second position there. Lorenz up the third. Wow-wee.
Now that is interesting. And I would also mention as well the 251 car of Bell. She is now, was up in sixth, now in eighth position. So these are M-class drivers putting in some great performances here. At Kyalami, we saw Bell do incredibly well. I think, and I'll double check this as well, but I think it might have been a P3 qualifying. I'll double check that right now. No, it was not at all.
As Ethan Carroll, mind you, has just popped in a 2:05.5. I'm calling it now. Pole position's over with. As we are on board with James Lawrence here at the moment in the beautiful Midas Grey Ferrari. One of my absolute personal favourites as he pops down the hill towards the Dunlop curve. Really important. You just run out a little wide, then try and tuck it back in, then get a nice drive out. Don't use that ripple strip and that grey crete at all. Don't even go near it. Now through the Schumacher S. Absolutely wild through here in the wet. Again, that green crete on the inside, you can take a little bit, but it can really unsettle the car. Just mount the curb there a little bit. Now up towards Michelin and Warnister. Really tricky corner, even in the dry, this one. And this is my favourite corner on the track. I love this corner. Warnister, fantastic corner. Maximum commitment. Then again, run it really wide, then up towards that Van Bogen. And then this is where you just flick it in, pray, hope. Yep, got through. Beautiful. Now up towards the NGK chicane. Again, how brave do you want to be? How much curb do you want to take? Not a lot. And then into the final curve, which is Coca-Cola curve. And again, normally we are dreaming that one day we'll be able to turn left instead of right there. And we'll see what Lawrence does as he comes across the line. Does he improve? He stays in the current position.
Yeah, but still very, very good lap. And that's a great little track walk you've given us there. It was great on boards. That was so exciting. to take us through there. But you're right; those curbs can be absolutely deadly if you get it wrong. Really, the ideal here is just to stay away from them. You were right, though. Through the Schumacher S, you can just cut that second half of the chicane, and sometimes it gives you a little bit of extra slip angle. On board with Kale now, and he's up on his time. 0.3 of a second at the moment. So that's going to be looking maybe into a 2:04, which is going to be unbelievably quick. Convoy is in the pits at the moment. He'll come out soon, I'm sure, for the last couple of laps as we see Kale go across the line, comes out of the last corner, turn 15. He's lost a little bit of time in that last corner there, but gains a little back on the exit. Oh, it's a 2:05.037.
Wow.
Very, very close to being a 2:04. Super impressive stuff. McKellar also up on his time, 0.4 of a second at the moment. There's 4 minutes remaining in this session. It's going to get, I was about to say hot, but it's going to get wet.
Here is McCullough currently in third position. Of course, our leader in the Silver Class Championship, having a fantastic season in the Valvoline Porsche. Again, look at these track conditions. It's just diabolical out there. He comes through the Schumacher S, named after the second greatest wet weather driver of all time.
Correct.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Knew someone would agree with me.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, really nice. He's putting in a really good lap here. Very smooth. Just trying not to excite the rear of the Porsche too much. Use a little bit of the curb, but not too much. Then it's flick through here. Then up towards the chicane. Can he make up any time through the chicane? How brave does he want to be? How much curb does he want to take? Or is he very cautious? Oh, he takes a little bit there and takes a bit there as well. And you can see the time gain. He's made 0.2 just through the chicane. Just what I mean, a little bit brave. Through the final corner now. He's gained a little bit more time. This is turning to a very good lap here from McCullough. It looks like it will definitely move him up the order, but how far up the order? Up to second position. Great lap there from Jake McCullough. Fantastic lap.
I was so committed as well through the chicane, the NGK chicane, turn 13 and 14, taking all that curb. You have to do that in the dry, and usually gives you a little bit of turn in, but McKellar just navigated that perfectly. And we saw, I think it was about 0.2 of a second he gained there. Great on exit as well. And here's Bell. Bell's just gone P3.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, well, there we go. 2 of the AM-class drivers up into the top 10. Bell, that is a brilliant lap at 2:05.7. Stonking stuff from her.
Fantastic. What a lap that is.
I mean, she proved herself last time out at Kyalami in the wet. Great drive overall, and just seems super comfortable in the wet, I have to admit. And, that's rare for a driver, as we were talking before. Schumacher and Senna, the best guys in the wet. I mean, maybe I got that wrong, but that's my opinion at the very least. But nonetheless, some drivers just know what they're doing in the wet. I am not one of those drivers, I will be honest with you, Sean.
Of course, in the Australian part of the world, Shane van Gisbergen's probably the best I've seen in the wet. Of course,
yeah.
Okay. If you ever get a chance, if those younger viewers, jump on YouTube and Google Glenn Seaton in Bathurst in 1987 in the wet. Some of the best viewing you'll ever see. As we are looking at Bell here, and currently she's up on her best time again. So she's not happy there with third. She wants second position. This is turning into be an amazing qualifying performance. 0.4 up now. Just looking really neat and tight. You see the very squirrely on the brakes. Looks like just caught a little bit of a puddle there, but gathers it up very nicely. Now tips it into Warnester. Oh, right outside his car control. Yes.
Oh, you love to see it, folks. Wow, that was some brilliant stuff. And still got time on the board. Crikey.
Yep. So didn't lose too much time. That'll look good on the camera replay for sure. Now through the chicane. You see the back end wanted to step out then, but she held on to it. Lost quite a bit of time though. Got to be super brave now into the final corner. See if we can make it. Looks like has lost a little bit of time, so I don't think this will improve. But still, fourth position is a fantastic qualifying effort from Bell. Well, does improve in slight margin, not too much.
Yeah, got a little bit there, a couple of hundredths of a second. Excellent stuff on board with Glover.
What's going on here?
Yeah, let's have a little look. There are only 20 seconds left in qualifying.
Valid. Oh, so currently I was up on his time and invalidated. Dear, oh dear. Still, sixth position.
Well, the sixth position, you'll take it at the end of the day, but there is one more lap in here for Glover, so he's going to have to put absolutely everything into this. Let's see if he can manage it.
Because if he was up on his feet, he knows the time's there. So just got to be really smooth here. Now into the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Great part of the circuit, this for a spectator. Not so much for a driver. I absolutely cannot stand this corner right here.
Yeah, second that opinion. It's the worst corner on the track by a long shot. Every time you do it, you just feel like you've never nailed it and that you've just suffered, your entire lap suffered for having, gone through it at all. Ooh, car off ahead.
That's a Ferrari taking the scenic route. And this is another corner here that you never feel like you always get right. Now down towards Dunlop Curve. Really, probably one of the best passing opportunities on the track. You can fire it up the inside. It does require both drivers to be on the same page here. As we're looking at Vedica, who's 1 second up on his best lap at the moment. So he is flying.
He's going to need to put in a great lap here. That is brave, confident, and skilled through the chicane. Into the last corner he comes. He's finding time everywhere. This is a great lap. We've got to keep an eye on this. He's lost a little bit of time on exit, but this could be good enough for P2. And across the line, it is a 2:04.9. Not quite enough for P1. What a lap from Vedica.
That was a clutch lap and a half. Only 0.1 off pole position. So we thought that KO was just going to walk this qualifying, but Vedica's decided no. Not going to have it. Oh, Glover's decided, yep, that's it. I've had enough. It's time to go and get myself a big pint of German beer and a sausage.
Agreed, yeah. And he pulled off very nicely onto the off-road there. That's top stuff. But a P7 for Glover it will be. Bell manages at this stage to hold on to P6. Convoy P5. P4 is McKellar. So, yeah, good laps from all of them. Lawrence and Sebi at the moment. So 3 AM-class drivers up in the top 10, Sean. What was I saying about M-class earlier?
Well, you got absolutely spot on there. That was perfect there from you. So we have got a 1 hour race tonight. So it's your standard operating procedure. 1 hour race, 1 pit stop. Race starts at 8 p.m. And you can see at the moment, yes, doesn't look that dark. Trust me, in about 15, 20 minutes, it's going to get dark. Very dark.
Very dark indeed. It's going to be quite interesting, to say the least. The start is critical, of course. Turn 1, very, very tricky to get through. You've got to get all the cars. Some of them will be 3 or maybe even 4 wide. Very wide entry into the corner. Suddenly closes up. And then you've got T2, banking left corner, a little bit off camber as well, and into that first complex, the Mercedes Arena, that we were just griping about moments ago. So the start's all going to be about the start here today, Sean.
Very much so. So a couple of quick housekeeping items while we are waiting for the start. So for those viewers who do watch OOR every week, you would have noticed that Split Yellow and Split Green did not race last night. They have been moved to next week due to the Matildas game last night, which was very proud of them, but still gutted and devastated. So I'm not talking about it anymore because they will be back. We'll be back on next Wednesday. So Split Yellow and Split Green will race next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Also want to give a big thanks to our fantastic sponsors at simrigs.com for all your sim racing needs. Go see the legends at simrigs.com. Tell them Sean sent you. And also, if you are an OOR patron, you will receive a 5% off in-store discount, which is awesome as well.
Certainly is. Yeah. So, as we go back to the grid, there are 50 seconds left to go before the start of this race. As always, there will be a formation lap and then a rolling start procedure, as is always. There's one mandatory tire and fuel stop today. Some people might be running long today. I think I've heard a couple of rumors from the pit lane that there could be some longer strategies at play. So you might see some people run, I don't know, 40, maybe 45 minutes into this race before a pit stop.
I think traffic's going to be the big key here as well. So, considering that the track is wet and looking at that weather radar, that rain is raining, increasing to really increasing.
Yeah, that's right. So it might be smart for some of these chaps on the grid to think about pitting a little bit earlier, getting into clean air, and then just riding out the weather all the way through. But yeah, here we go. We're going to start our formation lap. Of course, quick note that the safety car that you've seen in previous seasons no longer with us. We're going with a full virtual safety car setup, which has been working, I actually think, really, really well. Top stuff. Yeah, I think another shout out to all the liveries on the grid. Split Blue, as always, giving us a real bit of eye candy.
Very much so. And of course, quick shout out to our fantastic steward team. I hope they have a quiet night tonight. I'm just going to put it out there and say probably not, but they do an amazing job. It really is it is the toughest task in sim racing, being a steward. So they do an amazing job. So a big thank you to all our volunteer stewards. All right, racing. Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Track is wet. It's cold out there because it's nighttime. 15 degrees on track, 15 degrees ambient temperature. Of course, it is 8:03 p.m. now on track. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we're probably going to see really dark conditions in about 20 or 30 minutes. What's your thoughts on that, Sean?
Yeah, normally around 8:15, 8:20, it starts to get a bit dark. By about 8:30, 8:45, it's pitch black out there. And there is not a lot of lighting on this track at all. So when it gets dark, it gets very dark.
Yes, right. It's going to be... Well, you've got a little bit of light there. That's the headlights of the car in front of you and behind you, and the brake lights. But I don't think that really makes up for good floodlights, does it?
Definitely not. And this is where you really want to avoid anti-front end damage. So you want as much light as you can see. So you want to avoid cracking those headlights, anything like that. And just got to be so careful as well, especially lap one around here in these conditions with this visibility. Tippy toes, eggshells, the whole works. So, yeah, this is going to be very interesting. I'm actually looking forward to it. I think we're going to see a really mixed up results tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's about minimizing mistakes. It always is. But I mean, especially at night in the wet with weather coming in, you've got to be looking at the results and going, well, if someone gets ahead of me, they get ahead of me at this stage. You want to be fighting for the positions, but if you're going to make a mistake by chasing someone down, you've got to think twice about it. They do line up side by side, and we will go into our rolling start procedure momentarily. Of course, welcome into everyone in the grandstand, in chat. Lovely to have you in here. Our dual camera view is going to lead us towards the final couple of corners. They'll be navigating turn 13, turn 14 in just a moment, and then we'll be going down the pit lane through turn 15 for the race procedure start. And yeah, I think if you keep it clean, you're probably in for a good result here. I'm keeping an eye on these AM-class guys and girls today. I think this is going to be quite the race for them with such a mixed-up grid behind them.
Well, here we go. So round 4, Nurburgring, Split Blue, Asia-Pacific region. This is OOR, Simrigs.com Sprint Series action, and we are about to get underway as Ethan Kerr will lead them away from Vidigar, Apreciado, that is McKellar, Conboy, Bell, Glover, Lawrence, and Bub now are your 10, and we are underway and racing as they fire now down towards turn 1. It looks like Vidigar's got a little bit of an overlap there on Kale, but Kale's going to have the inside. Is everyone going to get through turn 1 clearly? Oh, there's a couple of cars going left and right. Bit of carnage there in the background, but Kale's got an absolute storming start. But who's that? Is that McKellar, who's absolutely nailed the start? So he was 4th position, now in 2nd. Conboy's going to try and go around the outside there of Vedigar, but yeah, Vedigar's like, no chance. That's not happening to Conboy. Look, he's still hanging it out there. Glover there currently in 5th position. This has been a great, nice, clean start here from Split Blue. So it is Kale from Vedigar, Apreciado, McKellar, Conboy. But of course, thank you, ACC timing. I know that is incorrect. It is McKellar in 2nd position. Then looks like that is so Vedigar, then Conboy. Save me, Cookie. Save me. I'm getting confused already.
I will save you right now because it is actually, in fact, Apreciado who has gotten up and had the top start there. So that's McKellar down in 6th place, Apreciado. Fair enough, though. They've got... Oh, no! Apreciado's gone off. He's run wide. That's going to let Joshua Vedigar and probably Conboy go through. Just didn't quite get on the brakes, out onto the slippery stuff. And he's going to lose a couple of positions after that fantastic start.
Amazing start. You mozzed him. Nice work. Well done. So look at Kale, though. Kale's absolutely gone. So Vedigar currently in 2nd. And then a bit of a traffic jam there behind him as well. So it just looks like the mid pack's going to be really interesting. If you're in that mid pack, good luck to you.
Yeah, have fun not being able to see
Glover.
much. Oh, Glover, yeah. Glover's gone very, very wide there. That is not going to help him. He's going to slip down a bunch of positions, down to P7 right now. Now under pressure from Layla Bell. That brings Sebi, another AM class driver, back up into the fray. Currently leading the AM class at the moment. Oh, here we go. This is going to be good. First time through the chicane there and through turn 15. In true Kale style, though, as you said, he is already flying away with this race.
1.8 seconds in one lap. That is a dominant opening lap from Kale. I'm calling him now. He's going to win this thing by 20 seconds easily.
He's going to do a Max Verstappen on us, is he? I think you might be right.
It's got that feel. It's just got that feel.
Certainly does.
That's quite deep. Ooh.
Luckily, not avoiding any contact there. That was very, very close. Of course, Vediger as well, Joshua Vediger, that is. Nearly got a really good start on the outside, but on the outside of turn 1's almost never going to work. You're going to get pushed out by someone, and that was Apreciado at the start. Just getting his nose in there and forcing Vediger to go a bit wider. But now we've got Bell now looking at the rear end of Glover, and Pro versus Am. Here we go. This should be quite an interesting fight because Glover is the pro driver sandwiched between two AM class drivers. It's going to be an interesting one. But so far...
Glover's gone! Around it goes! Oh, just got too much on the power. And Glover is going to absolutely tumble down the order here because he'll have to wait for pretty much every single car to come past. We're on board with Glover now. And now that was... I like that strategy. That was smart. Instead of staying there where he was in a really awkward position, he actually went the other way around so he could get back on track a little bit quicker and just a little bit safer. So that was smart thinking, but he's got a lot of work to do now. Now, what do you do Glover, if it was me, and now I preface this by saying I am an average hack at best, I'd come in.
I think you're right, actually. It's coming from another average hack over here. Yeah, I think I'd be keen to pit at this point because you know you're going to be faster than the 20 cars ahead of you. You know that you're going to be dealing with a lot of spray out there in conditions that are getting wet and red. Oh, wow, there is a car. I think that's, is that Penfold? I think it's Penfold going very, very wide there, so that's unfortunate for them. Glover already gained another position. I think you're right, though. Pitting at this stage, get out into clean air, and then go absolutely ham, get your head down. Probably the right move for Glover at this stage.
Yeah, probably wait a couple laps, see how many positions you can make up, and then pop into the pits, come in early, and get yourself out in the clear air and just absolutely nail it, and just hope you can make up as many positions as possible. I am going to say though that colour scheme in these conditions absolutely works for me.
Yeah. Maybe it's attracted the commentator's curse a little bit too directly, though. I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully not. Of course, we never like to to consider that possibility. Apreciado now on board, fighting with Jamie Conboy behind at the moment. Getting very squiggly out there on turn 4. Very tricky corner to get, and looks like he's run wide. That lets Conboy all the way through, and Conboy will say thank you very much and see you later. Although he might have a bit of a hard time in that McLaren holding off the Porsche. And the Porsche's being driven very well from Apreciado, but now under pressure from McKellar behind. So a bit of work for Apreciado to continue to do. But yeah, at the moment, I have to say, pretty good start here in the wet at the night. Everyone just being nice and cautious and keeping it clean. So well done, Split Blue, so far. That is top stuff.
Yeah, look, I think it's more... A lot of these drivers are just thinking survival. Oh, Bendig, I wouldn't be doing that too often. That is fraught with danger going out that wide there on the Green Creek. I wouldn't be doing that too often. Very much so. You can see the Lambo just skip a little sideways, but he did hold on to it.
A little bit sideways, okay. That kind of sideways, no. Well, that kind of sideways, no. Okay, that might be an indication of commentator's curse there. We do apologise, but Penfold just unfortunately got a little bit too sideways, and then you full lock. And then you really can't do a lot about it until the car finds some grip somewhere.
Exactly. That's the thing. And once you start sliding in these conditions, you're sliding. I don't care how good you are. You're not pulling it back. So really important to just back it off a little bit. Slow is fast in these conditions, 100%.
like an episode of Man vs. Wild or something in some ways. 'Cause, you're all there. As you said before, I think you're spot on, Sean. It's a matter of survival. You got to get yourself into the headspace to actually drive in these conditions. Because I mean, I've been out there on the wet myself, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm not particularly great in the wet at all. And I find myself falling into the trap very quickly, very wide. Lamborghini, bright livery Lamborghini in front, going a little bit wide into turn one. But I find myself switching back into driving conditions the second I get any confidence in the car in the wet, and then suddenly I'm off the track.
Yeah, exactly. It's all been well stated. Me and Cookie are very opposite in this. I love the wet conditions. I don't know why. Penfold there. That is something you do not want to do. Very easy. That could easily have spit the car sideways and fire you straight into the fence. So Penfold's really trying here, trying to get past this away, trying to put him under maximum pressure. And as you can see, when you're behind the car, you can see sweet bugger all. So this is where you are driving by really... Oh, Thistlewaite! That is totally missed his braking marker and off into the sand trap, or the mud trap, I should say.
Yeah, the lake. And there's another in the lake behind as well. So some drivers are already starting to maybe get that little feeling of overconfidence in the car. I mean, you've really got to check yourself before you wreck yourself in this kind of situation. As we saw with Penfold when we were on board, and fantastic shots from the onboard, of course, followed himself, just drove off track after turn 4. Easy to do because you can't see your braking markers. You can't see the track markers on the either side of the grid of the track. So, what are you to do? You've got to drive, essentially, by your, mental imagery of the track. And that's so difficult to do while balancing all the other variables involved in driving a car.
Well, if I can just quote Uncle Roger, you got to drive by feeling. Use feeling.
Yeah, that's right. You must sense the force. All right, no, I won't do any Star Wars quotes, but you kind of do. It's kind of, you've got to feel it rather than see it, because if you're relying on the seeing it, and this is why I can't remember who it was, but I remember seeing a rally driver driving around a course blindfolded. Of course, he's got his spotter on board who's giving him instructions, but that sort of mental imagery is exactly the kind of skill you need to develop for this wet kind of racing. I'm giving myself advice here, Sean.
You are. I'm expecting a benchmark performance next week now.
Oh, no. Well, tune in for that, folks. You're going to see quite an interesting race from me in Split Yellow. It'll either be great or it'll be a total disaster.
So Convoy currently leading Appreciator McCullough, the two Valvoline teammates. So Convoy actually driving really well here. The McLaren, from all reports, is not overly fun here to drive and does not like the wet much either. So Convoys are putting in a fantastic effort here. Currently second in the championship. So again, needs to really limit the damage that KO is doing at the moment, because KO is 2.9 seconds to the good now. He's looking really unbeatable at the moment. Vinegar, again, another very strong performance. And based off these results, we'll chomp into the gap to Convoy in second position in the championship. So this championship's tightening right up now as we get towards the midpoint.
Yeah, it's. I think the championship's going to be brilliant in this split in particular. The fight between Kale and Convoy and Vinegar is gonna just ramp up and ramp up and ramp up. It's only just switched around last round at Kyalami. We've got a lot of tracks coming up on the calendar that are going to favour the Porsche, favour the McLaren over the Lamborghini. But we know how strong Kale is in pretty much all conditions.
Certainly. We do have a question from chat here from Mia Rose for you, Cookie.
Oh yes, I can see that now.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, so we've got someone in chat asking my bet on who wins in yellow and the amount of penalties. Okay, right. Now I don't know who's going to win. I will have a think about that. But in terms of the number of penalties, if I base this off my knowledge of our current record, quite a lot. Probably, I'm going to say 10 or 15 at least. Yeah, I hate to say it, but we've had some bad performances in Split Yellow. We're all learning, though. We improved at Kyalami. We were all a lot nicer to each other out in Split. So we'll see next Wednesday. But I'll have a think about who might win it and let you know later. Speaking of penalties, we've got Lewis, the 959 car, who is actually our leader in Pro-Am class, but down in P22 with a 10-second penalty, and Boxall in P17 also with a 10-second penalty. So some collisions may be out there on track, Sean.
Yeah, it looks like a couple of little whoopsies. Just look at this battle here currently on screen at the moment. This is actually turning a bit of a barnstormer here. So we've got Bendeek, Penfold, Lorenz, Thistlethwaite, and Beg, who's just off the back of Thistlethwaite there. So nice little battle forming. Of course, leading the pack is Bendeek in that absolute abomination of a Lamborghini, followed by Penfold in a much, much prettier Lamborghini. And then we've got Lorenz in that beautiful Midas Ferrari, and then Thistlethwaite in that big, beautiful blue Mercedes. It's one of my actually, I do like the Mercedes livery on that. Thistlethwaite's done.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm a bit biased because blue's my favorite color, but yeah, blue Mercedes, there's something about it, isn't there?
There is definitely, and of course, Thistlethwaite is a big fan of GT racing around the world. So he ran the Audi, one of the Australian liveried Audis last season. So he's definitely a big fan of sort of that classic GT style livery, which I am as well. But looking here at Penfold at the moment, who's had a couple of moments. So this is a bit of a Lamborghini train. And it is great to see all these different sort of class of drivers as well. So we've got an AM from a silver, from a Pro-Am, from an AM, from a silver. So it just goes to show that, yes, your class is important, but in certain track conditions and when the cards do fall your way, really means nothing at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right? I mean, there are potential promotions available for those that perform well in the lower classes up to a higher class. We've just switched to this 4-class system recently, last couple of races. So this one and the previous one at Kaya Lamy. So beforehand, we just had 3. It was the Pro-Am, and Am class. But I think this 4-class system working out well so far. There will be some switcheroos. That Bollard is going to go for a trip through turn 2, it looks like. Thistlethwaite under a lot of pressure from Beg at the moment, these 2 silver class drivers. Going for it at the moment, we've got Mercedes versus McLaren, match made in heaven, if I do say so myself.
Very much so. Thistlethwaite's actually getting monstered here at the moment. Yes. and doing a great job there. Oh, we see very squirrely, though, Beg there on the exit of the final part of the Mercedes-Benz Arena. So heading down into this really tricky corner in the wet. Never feel like you're never comfortable through there. Never comfortable at all. Of course, that is... I always forget the name of that one. I believe that's Valvoline and then Ford. Yeah, so it's Valvoline, Ford, then Dunlop. I always get Valvoline and Ford mixed up.
Oh yeah, it's a tricky one. Yeah, I think it is turn 5 that we were talking about there, that leading into the turn 6, which they're going through now. Yes, that's right. Yeah. My track map at the moment doesn't have the corner names. Oh no! Whoa! Yeah. That was a big moment for the McLaren, the monster McLaren, and that's going to release some pressure off of Thistlethwaite as it stands right now. It's a tricky one. You saw on turn 5 just before. Just to go back to that very quickly, they were taking a very wide line, very hard to get the car turned in. Very high speed left-hander. And, of course, you do want to dart back to the left to open up turn 6. So it's a really tricky complex of corners. And if you run wide through that turn 5, you'll find yourself suddenly making a very, very tight corner, what is actually quite a fun corner in turn 6. You'll make it basically a hairpin.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, I was just looking at the weather radar as well, just keeping an eye on that. And as it's going to get darker, the rain is going to get heavier. Yep. So that is some true Satis weather right there. That is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, what in the fresh hell is this? This is brilliant for us, though, of course, in the comment box, and for all of you watching at home. Thank you all for your comments so far. I think I might be close to an answer on who might win split yellow next time out, but I'll hold on to that for another 5 or 10 minutes. Very wide goes Thistlethwaite. That is not your usual line, but the car just not deciding to slow down at all. I do wonder what ABS settings they're running on that Mercedes, because being an FR car might be running a little bit heavy on the ABS. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not an FR expert. Someone can let me know. Maybe you can let me know, Sean.
I'm not too sure on the Mercedes, but I have noticed that Thistlethwaite, the last couple of laps, that's the line he's taking. So maybe that's his preferred line. I'm not too sure. Now down in... Oh, that's much better. That was a lot better now. Looks like he's got his eye in here, Thistlethwaite. I'm expecting Thistlethwaite to get onto the back of Lawrence here in the next couple of laps, definitely.
That's right, yeah. And a few more comments from the chat. I've got to address this. Don't you mean Penfold? um, look, everyone's got their own taste in livery. I still like the fact that it reminds me of Candy. Okay, that's Ben Deek's livery. But would I choose it myself? No, absolutely bloody not. It's good to view it from the comms box. We know who it is.
Exactly. As we've said, though, look, the actual colours aren't too bad. What really just makes it an abomination is those bloody purple wheels.
Yeah, you just add a bit of a dark grey or something to that effect on those wheels. Make them look normal. I think we'd be perfectly happy. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Exactly, the purple wheels, though. Oh, but I'll tell you what, though, he's got other things on his mind at the moment because Penfold is giving him the real big hurry up. Too wide of the chicane, that is not an option. So I'm glad Penfold did think better of that. Lawrence is just sitting here waiting for the opportunity, probably trying to pick up a little bit of scraps. Bendick now under some severe pressure here from Penfold. 2 Lamborghinis going toe-to-toe. And we could just see in that rear view camera as well that Thistlewaite's just starting to close on the back of Lorenz as well. So this battle's not over, and this is going to rage for the next few laps. Looking forward to this as Penfold, does he try and dive up the inside of turn 1? Thinks better of it. Bendick's very slow through turn 1. Oh, that's maybe taking a little too much curb.
That takes the word send it to another, or the phrase send it to another level, because I think the car might have got a bit of air there. Very rough entry. But Lawrence doing well to hold on to it. That's an interesting line. It's actually totally acceptable to do that line. I'm still trying to figure out what might be the best line through all these corners. Whoa! That might be why you don't want to take that line and try and open up turn 4 as much as possible. But this battle's really heating up. I don't know who's going to be more anxious right now. It's going to be Ben Deek in front, who's going to be Penfold, who's got a car right behind them. Lawrence, who's thinking, I'm doing really well, but I've got Thistleweight behind me. What do I do? Do I continue? Do I not? And by the way, I just want to mention, we've got a couple of people who have got into the pits. Not who you might expect, though. So Glover, who had a spin earlier on, not gone into the pits. Graham in P25 has pitted. And then P26, Neil Wood, has also gone to the pit.
Thistlewaite's had a massive moment there. So Beck did get past him. And then he's had another moment again into that, pardon me, into the Ford and Dunlop. He's just been struggling pulling that Merc up. We've seen it a couple of times now. So the Merc not liking pulling up in the wet. So Bendick's still leading the way, but hasn't blinked yet. This battle is really turning into an absolute beauty. This is easily the best battle on track at the moment. So we've got 5 cars in a line astern in wet conditions in the night at the Nurburgring. If you're an enduro fan like me, this is giving you that gooey, nice feeling in the stomach.
Oh, yeah, I keep thinking that I'm seeing on the clock a little 4 hours.
Oh,
no!
Penfold's gone!
Yeah, he's gone!
Oh, huge moment there from Penfold, and he clobbered the wall as well. Luckily, it is right near the pit entry, so he can just pull it in. But that will be a early pit stop. Probably not planned, but at least at least it was there and not halfway around the circuit.
Well, that's right. Yeah, an unplanned entry, unforced entry into the pit lane. In. I think he was thinking, and the steering wheel was saying, well, he was thinking, stay out, and the steering wheel was saying, and the car was thinking, go in. And they obviously got caught between the middle and couldn't quite rectify that situation. Every time I look at the stat sheet, something happens on track, Sean.
It is, yep. It's one of the. It's that kind of race. It's sort of just when you think everyone's settled down and that, being these conditions, just one wrong slip, bang, wall. As we saw there from Penfold. Unfortunate, but I'm sure he was in the pits. He'll get that damage repaired. He'll be out before you know it and try and make his way back through the field.
Yeah, that's right. So what I was saying before is I keep visualizing a 4-hour timer on the front of that 39 minutes remaining. So I'd love this to go for another 4 hours right through the night. How good would that be? But you're right. For all the endurance fans out there, look forward to the next endurance round because that, ironically, is at the Nurburgring. I'm super looking forward to that.
That is, of course, coming up. Is it 6 hours? 6 hours, isn't it?
I believe it is, yes. Not quite as long as I'd like it to be, but a little replay for you. And I think this is going to be, well, actually, we'll find out. That's Thistlewaite. So Thistlewaite going wide. Yeah, just missed the braking zone a little bit and just slid off the track, sadly. As we were saying before, if you start to slide, the car will tend to continue sliding rather than flying grips. Very unfortunate for Thistlewaite. Now got a bit of work to do. 1.3 seconds the gap to the back of the monster McLaren.
So I was just checking at the gap up front as well. I was just having a look, and I thought Kale was just going to walk away, but it's only 3.3 seconds. So Vediger's doing a really good job actually holding on here. I was expecting after that opening lap, and he was 1.8 to the good. I thought Vediger was just going to walk away, but no, Vediger's really putting in a really strong performance here, which is great to see. So if he can just mitigate that, keep the pressure on. Now, we don't expect Kale to make mistakes. We have seen so far, especially in the last 2 rounds, he kind of doesn't make mistakes, but you've got to be there. So that's, look at this. This is a good battle. The 2 teammates going at it. Oh,
I was about to say,
what's the first rule of motorsport?
Send it on your teammate?
Oh, that's right, of course.
Yeah. Naturally. Especially in a situation like this, in the night, in the wet, you've got to absolutely send it. So, yeah, but no, this is going to be a good little battle we're watching here. I was just going to say, there's a difference between the battle for first and second right now and this. This is the opposite of what I was about to say for Kale. A little bit wide entry there. Actually, it's probably pretty good for both of these guys. But Michaela's going to close up the gap a little bit there. This is the opposite of complacency. If Kale gets complacent, Vediger is there to pick up the pieces if something happens. And it is easy to do so. You become complacent for 1 second. It's the same as getting overconfident. One little mistake, that's it. The car slides out from underneath you. And being only, now 3.8 seconds behind is Joshua Vediger. He'll be there to pick it up in P1 if something happens with Kale. But yeah, Josh has still got a lot of work to do. But great little battle going on between teammates. I love to see this. And 2 Porsches as well. You must be stoked, Sean.
Oh, this is amazing too. And my 2 probably favourite livered Porsches in this split as well on the grid, going at it. Oh, I see McCullough's closing right up on the back of Preciado. So, and you can, there you go. There's a live view right there of what he can see. This part of the track's not too bad. This is actually pretty well lit. So you can see quite a bit. Of course, the main grandstand. Of course, there's a Porsche Drivers Club area there towards the back there as well. Fantastic part of the world here, the Nurburgring as well. Of course, in the Eifel Mountains in Germany. Of course, does host the Formula One from time to time, hosts many GT races, DTM, and of course, home to the toughest 24-hour race in the world, the fearsome Nurburgring 24-hour. Of course, it uses the GP circuit and the full Nordschleife or the Green Hell. I could literally talk about this track in this place all day and its history, but we do have a race on its hand at the moment.
We do, and I'm literally holding my finger off the unmute button right now because I want to go off and talk about the Nordschleife for about the next 35 minutes and 44 seconds. But no, we have to hold ourselves. We have to restrain ourselves, Sean. We can't go and do it. But maybe the reason why there's not so many lights at the GP course, they had to spread some of the lights around that gigantic northern ring. Well, that was a close one for Michaela. So let's focus in on the race at hand. The conditions continue to get trickier, and I think, based on what the weather radars are saying at the moment, this level of rain is going to be going for probably the remainder of this race.
Looks like it. It looks like actually he's increasing. Oh, just saw that. No, the plus symbol went away. So it is pretty much, you are right there. It's just going to be this consistent, good old-fashioned fat rain that's just going to pour down as we've got ourselves a replay. This will explain what happened to Penfold. As a 2 brave through the chicane. No, it looks like I got a little bit too there on the exit and just bang straight into the wall. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to ride that curb on the outside. That's what gives you the time, but you've really got to be careful on the throttle as you approach it, especially in the rain. I mean, the curbs are going to throw you wild anyway, but if you crank it up to maximum torque just as you're getting on that curb, it is the result is, well, what we've just seen literally right now. Luckily for Penfold, though, right next to the pits, as we said before. I don't know. That's going to be a lot of work to do for Penfold, unfortunately. Has pitted, of course, and tell you what, let's jump through the grid and just have a little look who has pitted. So Thistleweight deciding to pit as well. And we've got Salvaggio has gone into the pits. Ashley Vediger has gone into the pits as well. Penfold, of course. Boxall, as we mentioned before. Graham Wood. And that is your pitters so far. So no one from the top of the grid has decided to pit yet.
No, they haven't. So they're running, I reckon we'll probably see a half-half split here. Maybe some will run long, just depending on their situation. Is Kale currently 4.8 seconds to the good, so he's in control. Vediger there in second. Third, Convoy, Appreciado, McKellar, Sebi, Bell, Lorenz, Beg, and Bub now, who has just popped into the pit lane, are your top 10 at the moment, and Van Dijk's come in as well.
Yeah, and I mean predictions from earlier. Well, I didn't predict it, but in my mind, I thought there's a top 10 spot for one of these AM class drivers. Right now, there's three in there: Sebi, Bell, and Lorenz, all doing a fantastic job to hold on to their positions. They're falling by. They're a little bit of a pack there. We've got Bell and Lorenz having a battle. Right now, we're on board with Beg, and I believe that is Lorenz in front. So that is the back of the AM pack, so to speak, or the top three of the AM pack. And Beg is now going to be looking to fight his way through the next three drivers and get himself further up the grid. P9 at the moment for Beg, not too bad at all. You've got Bub now in P10, who is now having pitted. So this could shake things up a little bit. Whoa, right close to the background there. That was close for Beg. Just manages to pull the car back before slamming into the rear bumper of Lawrence. So Lawrence is going to have a bit of a fright. Might have been a bit of a Code Brown moment in the rear vision mirror if he was watching. But yeah, Beg looking fast right now. Crikey, that was close.
That was extremely close. Lucky to get away with that one, as Lewis has got a 25 seconds worth of penalties there as well. Now, I just got some word from one of our keen-eyed viewers in chat that Bendig had a bit of damage as well. So
no,
that's a bit of a shame, because he was leading that pack of Lauren, Penfold, Beg, that pack, and Thistleweight there as well. So we'll see how this all plays out with the pit stops and sort of where everyone shakes out, as Comboy now comes into the pit from third position. So he's decided to go, oh, wow. Now, I'm not sure there. Was Beg trying to go to the pit and thought, oh, no, I better not? Or,
I'm not sure. I suddenly get the feeling that he might have been just, you know, when you hone in on the rear bumper of someone, you just follow their line a little bit. Lawrence was just going out to the side. He was thinking, oh, they'll go for another lap. So maybe he just got a little bit tricked by Lawrence's move, and the car suddenly found itself doing something it wasn't supposed to be, as he was trying to go straight ahead. Maybe he was going for the pits. I'm not sure what was going on in Beg's head there, but he managed to hold on to it, because that was a close one.
we'll give him benefit of the doubt.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Because that was, that could have been another spin. At least he would have been at the pit entry. So there are some benefits of having mistakes at that point of the track.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if he managed to make that pit entry on the slide, I mean, that'd be super impressive. I've seen that done before.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you just sort of slide in, get yourself lined up to run towards the pit entry limit marker. Yeah, I can see how that would work.
Yeah, first-hand experience. I tried it myself.
I see, yeah.
Wasn't intentional, though. I'm giving you the hot tip.
Okay, well, fair enough, yeah. Maybe we'll have to find a way to make that intentional, but whenever I make a mistake into the pit entry, I usually end up in that barrier. So, yeah, lucky for anyone here. They've not done so. So the battle rages on between Apreciado and McKellar, and now we're on board with Cafaro, and ahead, actually the 959 car, he's just ahead of Cafaro, who we're on board with now. 25-second penalty for Lewis, so he's not having a great race out there. McClaw's just in front of him, so 3 cars now, separated by not a lot of time at all, and this is the battle that's going on right now on track. Cafaro in another Porsche, with probably one of the best numbers on the grid, let's be honest, is going to be hunting down Lewis, who's run very wide. Oh, it's not ideal, so Cafaro's going to get the run. Yep. We'll have the run, and we'll get the corner as well, most likely. Will Lewis get it stopped? Yeah, well, keeps the car in there, because you've got to try and defend, but no contact between them, luckily. So through goes Cafaro up into P11.
Nice job there from Cafaro. Now, he was well down the order as well. Still owes us a pit stop, so he will drop down, but sometimes you've just got to deal with the cards you've been dealt, and that's what he is doing at the moment. So we have just ticked over the halfway mark, and second position, Vedigar, he's in the pit lane and is serving his mandatory, getting that out of the way as Lewis does come into the pits as well. So he'll be stationary for a minimum of, what's that? Don't do maths on stream, Sean. Yep, 55 seconds. Yeah, we'll go with that. For a minimum, well done. Yes.
Well done. I was going to help you, but I thought, no, I better not do maths on stream. So you took the words right out of my mouth.
It's going to be a long pit stop there for Lewis. Oh, is that another McLaren? Not sure who that was. Is that not Convoy? That's someone else there. It looks like a bit of lap traffic there. Ran really deep there into turn 1 as Convoy goes past, and he's served his mandatory stop. So he's now strapped in, going to fly to the end and try and solidify that third position he was in before the pit stop. As Vetiger does come out in front of him, so he'll looking very solid. Oh, as Penfold is off again, so this race was looking very promising here for Reece Penfold, but the last sort of 10 minutes he's had quite a few moments.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is what I would call the mental concertina effect potentially happening. You know, if you have a mistake, you fall down a grid, you're in a battle, you're looking at a pretty good finish, and then the mistakes just start to come into play. And if you can't get yourself mentally sort of recentered, and that's so difficult even in the dry, once you've had some unfortunate things happen out of track, whether it's your fault or not, you start to get, well, I think the word is a little bit tilted. And then, like I said, the mental concertina effect comes in, and that corner, he's taking it very easy. Okay, he's coming into the pits. I was going to say, he's had a bit of a knock of confidence in that corner. And, okay, that's pretty well. But just held on to it, wow.
So he must have clobbered the wall again, because he's coming in again, so he must have some serious damage on that Lamborghini.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, yeah, as we were saying earlier in the stream as well, just you don't want to be out there with damage. It's bad enough in the dry, but if you're in the wet, oh, crikey. We've also got our leader at the moment, Kale, in the pits. Now, I think the gap was about 4.8 seconds between him and Vetiger, as they were separated then by the pit stop of Vetiger. So where will he come out? Let's see the gap. Vetiger's actually coming down the pit straight. I think he's closed up the gap a little bit there. Maybe just a little bit.
It does look, you are right. I would have to agree with that just by the visual. Does look the gap has just closed just a tiny bit. So it's all little gains, little wins, as they say.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I was wondering if this was going to the trigger being pulled by Vetiger, Josh Vetiger, was going to inevitably get Kale to sort of think about it. I get the feeling the strategy was probably just, hey, look, half it. Oh, I might have taken a bit too much fuel. Okay, run a couple more laps and let's get out there and continue. Maybe not necessarily any massive amounts of strategic thinking going on from Kale. He just needs to keep going, keep doing what he's doing at this stage, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Now it's just about keeping nice, consistent laps, circulating, keeping yourself out of trouble, and just trying to bring it home and bank those solid points. He's looking for a clean sweep here, so he's got the fastest lap. He's taken pole position. If he can get the win, that will be the treble, and that is a maximum points in the bank. And moving on to round 5, which I believe we are heading off to. One moment. Checking.
We are checking. This is when we get our Ferrari strategy hats on at this stage in the game. But no, in fact, I was actually wrong. So 5.3 seconds the gap. The gap has extended. So Kale staying out a little bit longer. Whether or not it had a big impact or not, we just know how good he is in the wet.
So, of course, round 5, we are heading off to the French car park, also known as Paul Ricard. Yep, so I've got feelings on Paul Ricard. Horrible to hot lap, absolutely horrible. Hate hot lap and just practicing at that joint. Boring as hell. But racing at Paul Ricard, mega fun. Lots of fun, really enjoyable.
Okay, I'm going to look forward to the racing aspect to it because I have a few unsavory nicknames for the French track there at Paul Ricard. I probably won't repeat some. Some of them are a little bit rude. So it'll be an excuse my French moment, very much so. So maybe I'll let everyone know in the chat later on. But I'm looking forward to the racing there. That's going to be fantastic. It is actually a great track. You're right, though. Pushing through some of those other sectors, the Sector 2, really, really difficult. So not looking forward to doing the qualifying. But it should be a good race, so we're looking forward to that.
Definitely very keen to get to the French car park, as I call it.
It's a much tamer nickname than what I've got.
So 24 minutes to go. It is Appreciato leading the way, who still owes us a pit stop. But hang on, is that timing tower playing tricks on me?
We are checking.
Yeah, it is.
we are checking.
We're checking.
I think it is.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
I was thinking, hang on, how does Bell get the lead there? What's going on there?
It just skipped the pit lane. You know, just skipped the pit lane. Just they threw the tires on literally, and just drove on through.
All right. So once it all Kunos features sorts itself out. So it is Appreciato from Kale, Vedigar, Cafaro, Convoy, McCullough, Bell, Sebu, Bubnow, and Thistleweight are your 10 at the moment with 23 minutes to go. As Appreciato now pops into the pit lane to serve his mandatory. So he will drop down the order as we should get pretty much close. We're just waiting for probably Cafaro to pit, and then we'll get a full cleanse of the field. And then we'll be able to give you an update of all the positions and then the run home to the flag. This is round 4, split blue Asia Pacific region of Octane Online Racing, Simrigs.com Sprint Series. And of course, stick around after this because we have split red, ladies and gentlemen. With these conditions and split red, oh boy.
Oh, yeah. Let the bloodbath ensue, as we have said in the past about split red. Split blue here, of course, summoning a bit of rain. It's been a fantastic race so far. I mean, we've had a big mix-up of the grid, some great performances up the top. The start was absolutely brilliant. Lots of action, but everyone keeping it nice and clean. So it's the kind of clean, savvy racing that we do like to see here in OOR. Split blue really taking it out and doing a good job today, I think. So Cafaro comes into the pits. Kale will come through in a moment and retake that P1 position overall. P4 to Convoy at the moment. He's having a pretty good day out. He's sitting about 14 seconds, though, behind Joshua Vediger. Looking to take a P3, though, today. So that will help his championship fight, although he'll have to find a bit more pace. Maybe at Paul Ricard, he'll be able to pull out a nice victory there or something to that effect.
I can add to that. I know JC quite fairly well. Paul Ricard is one of his absolute favourite tracks. He loves the joint. Me and him would get along and agree with most things, footy teams and things like that. But one thing we definitely don't agree on is that Paul Ricard's the greatest racetrack in the world. Hashtag no. If you want the greatest racetrack in the world, it is in the area of Kent in England. It is Brands Hatch. Don't at me.
Yeah, you might get a few comments in chat for that one, but I would say Brands Hatch is pretty much up there. I would completely agree. And then, the question then is, JC, he's in his favorite car. He's in his favorite track. That's a pretty good combination. So we should see him do pretty well there. I'll mention as well. Oh, dear. That was Bell going for a bit of an excursion off track. Might have been an attempt of a move on Sebi, who has actually leapfrogged Bell, I think in the pit stop, actually, earlier on, to be in the lead of AM class.
I'll tell you what, these two have been absolutely fantastic performers for AM drivers. I'm calling it now. They are losing that red plate by the next round.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they're finishing up in these positions, that's not even a black plate. That's not a Pro-Am badge. That's potentially a silver badge. I don't quite know how the promotions are going to go, but if they're based on results and performances, that is silver category area right there for both of those two. So what a drive. We've got Lawrence down on P10, still holding on to things, but with a 15-second penalty. Got Cafaro behind, but then Bendik, who I believe had a little bit of a information chat, had a bit of damage. I think you mentioned that earlier, Sean, is sitting there in P12. That'll rapidly become a P11 at this, or P10 at this stage. So Bendik on a little bit of a comeback drive there, and we'll get a little bit lucky with that 15-second penalties on Lawrence. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Those red stickers are coming off the car probably at the end of the season.
In terms of, we've got a bit of a replay here. This will be Bell, I believe. What's happened with Bell? Yep. So Bell's just ran a little deep there. We've seen that very often this evening. So easy to do. It's actually a tricky corner. The Dunlop curve. It's actually tricky in the dry, in the light conditions. So add some water and visibility, bugger all visibility and no sunlight becomes very treacherous. But Bell is starting to work up on the back of Sebi again. So this battle for AM honours is going to go right down to the wire here. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one plays out.
Yeah, I'm having flashbacks to the fight that me and Ben Thomas had throughout the last season of Split Blue. It was just like this. We were a lot further down the grid, admittedly. These two putting on a great performance up here in 6th and 7th. On board now with Bell we go. The 251 car versus the 16 car. He's got my number. Okay, well, I shouldn't get salty about that. I've got my own number. But nonetheless, this is going to be a good little battle. We have to keep a little eye on that. Whoa, Bell! Oh, wow. That was well controlled because that was nearly 90 degrees into the barrier and to the Shadow Realm you would have been sent.
Epic bit of car control there from Bell. She held on to that beautifully. Again, I've seen old Porsche, that's in the wall straight away. You're not saving that. That was a fantastic bit of driving. Just based on what I've seen, though, she's pushing very hard. She does have a slight pace advantage, I feel, over Sebi. So she's just got to calm the nerves a little bit, just rein it in a little bit, just try and sail up to the back of Sebi, put him under pressure, try and force an error. If you know, when you got the car speed, it's so easy, especially in these conditions, just to drive that little 1-2% extra, and that forces that error, as we just saw there. But great save.
Great save. I mean, I think it's sort of the 80-20 rule, isn't it, Sean? You know, you've got to sort of 80-20 the idea through the corner. You know, okay, well, we can push, but we can't push at 100%. We can accelerate early, but we can't accelerate too early. And that sort of 80-20 rule might be coming into play. Although, I have to admit, from the way these two are driving, and probably the way that most of the guys up the top, guys and girls at the top, are driving, it's probably more like a 95-5 rule, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, Kale's probably driving at 100%.
Yeah. Oh, replay of this at the moment.
Wow.
Whoa. Yeah. So to bring the car back on the track when half the tires are off on the grass. Very impressive stuff from Bell. And the gap is continuing to get smaller and smaller. But you're absolutely spot on at this point. And as they go through that corner again, this is where Bell went off the last lap, I think it was. Yeah, it's a tricky corner. Very tricky. And what I find is that out through turn 5, that braking zone for turn 6 arrives on you before you realize it every single time.
Yeah, exactly. It's so you come through 5, and pretty much as soon as you're through 5, you're on the brake for 6, and if you're just slightly too deep, it's really easy to run wide. And again, the exit of 6 as well, it's got that raised curve with the greencrete. So in these conditions, really easy to back the tail out and spin it around. But as I was saying there, Bell's definitely got, I feel, a pace advantage here. Now, is that in the background as well? Is that a bub now lurking there in the background? I believe it might be.
I think you're right, yeah. So the Ferrari is actually catching up to these two. And I think I saw something earlier. Babnow was taken out early on at the pit entrance. So something happened at the pit entrance for Babnow, slid down the grid, and now it's back in things. This is going to be a spicy fight in a couple of laps, and only 16 minutes ago. So it's all to play for that P6 position that Sebi's holding onto at the moment.
And this is going to be a really good test for these two AM drivers here, because Babnow is no slouch behind the wheel, of course, in the Torvo Messor racing. Now, these conditions, of course, night conditions, does suit his theme. He does like some sort of Grim Reaper-y style liveries, does Shawnee Babnow.
He's lurking in the shadows.
Yeah.
Quite literally in this case. Nurburgring.
I've got that Simpsons episode stuck in my head now.
Oh no. You need to get that out of your head pretty soon. But no, yeah, he's lurking. I don't know if Bell and Sebi have realized yet. Actually, surely they will have. There's some pretty bright headlights in their rear view mirror. So they should realize. But yeah, this is going to get very interesting. Of course, as you said, a little bit wide there from Sebi. He's holding on for dear life right now, and he knows how close Bell is, and I think he'll probably be aware that Bell's probably got the speed advantage too. Both in Porsches, of course, so equal machinery. It's all down to how you've set the car up and how you drive the car, and that is... Wow, these are wide lines for Sebi, so he's really trying to open up the exit, put the power on early, and just get that run. You can see the gap extending towards the end of the straights. But it is bringing up opportunities for Bell just to slide up that car up the inside and maybe going defensive. Here we go.
Oh, thinks better of it there, Bell. Just backed out right at the last moment. Sebi, as you can see, going quite defensive now. Starting to feel the pinch of that HKS Porsche. What Sebi wouldn't kill for a big HKS turbo right about now, just for an extra 100 horsepower.
What's that Fast and Furious gag? They always have the nitrous button. So
that's right.
You just need to have the little red button in the car.
NOS, bro, NOS.
Oh, NOS, that's the one. Yeah. It's been too long since I've played Need for Speed Underground 2, mate.
And Now come through the final turn. Bell really putting the pressure on. Sebi, though, doing quite a good job now. These two, though, fighting in the background. That Ferrari of Bub now is closing in. So this will turn into a three-way fight very quickly. As they break down deep into turn one. Ferrari, just very nice and smooth. Bub out. Look at that lovely line through there. Actually, that was really enjoyable to watch.
It was. I thought he actually missed that braking zone, but he actually hit it spot on. Ferrari seems to always be really good on the brakes. I don't know what it is. Probably car skill and lack of awareness from me. That's very wide, though, for Sebi, but he's going to have a very awkward run through turn 4. This could open it up for Bell, but Bell's just going to sit. He just sat right on the apex of the corner. Smart move from Sebi, and I don't think Bell's going to consider going up the inside here. That would be a bad move into turn 5. It's going to compromise them massively into turn 6. Both of them holding the inside of turn 5. On the brakes immediately, a very shallow line there for Sebi. Once again, trying to open up the exit as much as possible, get the throttle down, but he's compromising himself at every corner here. And you're right, Bub now is looking ahead like a necromancer, looking at his victims from the shadows of the dark, going, when will I be able to get past? Another wide line there for Sebi.
Yep, I thought that was a mistake the first time I saw it from Sebi. No, that's the line. That is 100% the line he is taking. This is why I love wet weather driving. Everyone has different theories and sort of methods to go about. Oh, geez, Bell, that's brave doing that. Again, though, these two are actually putting on. This is turning into a fantastic show of driving here. Really enjoying this. I think everyone in chat should get around this, and we should get some well done and some Fs in chat, because these two are putting on a fantastic show at the moment. Two AM drivers putting on real masterclass in attacking and defensive driving in terrible conditions, and we are seeing some real skill here. Again, Sebi's just got different lines. I think it's, again, really interesting.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by Sebi's lines at the moment. I mean, every time he goes into a corner, he looks like he's compromising himself. But then I think Bell is then struggling on the exit, taking I would say a more traditional line through the corner, but struggling to get the power down, whereas Bell's just going, I'm just going to compromise every entrance, go really slow through the corner, and then just absolutely send it, go fast on the outside, on the out of the corner. So, that is wide for Bell, though. She's lost a little bit of time there. Bub now getting very close in her rear view mirror. So, I agree, though. In chat, everyone let us know, because this is a fantastic battle. There's two M-Class drivers in the top 10 battling for P6 in this race, followed by a pro driver with skulls on his dark Ferrari. It's brilliant.
What I've also noticed is Sebi is becoming a bit of a master of the old park it on the apex driving technique, which is, as I call it, the Lowndes method. So sometimes it's best, just park it on the apex and then accelerate out, and there's nothing the other driver can do about it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, I was. That's a favorite of mine in particular. You've got options when you're a slower driver. If some of the better drivers, of course, do this as well. But when you're a slower driver like me, defensive tactics are kind of the way that you need to keep positions.
Of course, the other one, of course, is just ride the brake a little bit deeper into the corner as well. Oh, do you see up ahead? That looks like we've got a yellow there, up there towards turn 1, turn 2. So we'll just keep an eye on that. It's back to this fantastic battle. This is playing out beautifully. We've got just under 10 minutes to go. It is Kale leading the way from Vediga, Convoy, McCullough, Appreciato. This awesome battle between Sebi and Bell. Bub now, Thistlewaite, and Lorenz, RU10. Lorenz is carrying a 15-second penalty, though, which might bump Bendik up there into 10th position. And this is currently round 4, Split Blue, OOR, Simrigs.com Sprint Series from the Nurburgring in Germany. And, of course, stick around, because we will have Split Red coming up after this.
I'm looking forward to watching Split Red too. Fortunately, we won't be commentating on it. We'll hand that over to our friends in the commentary box. Nice commentary box here, by the way. Got good views out on track. 9 minutes to go in this race, and I will just quickly make a mention. That was Cafaro in the background, who we saw the yellow. The 69 car went for a bit of a spin. I think that was around turn 2 or turn 3. So having a bad time and has yet to pit. So we'll need to come in. It looks like they pitted once, but outside the window. They still need to serve their mandatory pit. So for Cafaro, it's unfortunately gone from bad to worse. There was going to be at least one person that happened, and yeah, for now, we'll keep on board with those who are having a fantastic race, and that is Sebi, Bubnow, and Bell. Now, Bell right on the rear bumper now of Sebi. Once again, Bubnow's not made a huge amount of progress. I wonder if he's just sitting back and going, look, if I let these guys fight, there's going to be a mistake. Inevitably, there'll be a mistake. He may be looking too much at those red stickers on the back of their car, though, because these two are holding pace right now and holding Bubnow just under a second off the back of them.
We just saw there quickly as well. We saw Bell having another moment. The Porsche back end just snapped out, but she caught it beautifully. And again, look at Sebi with that beautiful line. I'm really enjoying the line. As we got a bit of a replay here. This looks like Cafaro and Bendig. Oh, that was very close. So,
I wonder what's happened there. He's just pulled off.
Does that hit the starter button or something?
Oh, it is. You're right. Yeah,
Yep.
he neutraled the car. He turned off the engine, and there was nearly a big bit of contact there with Bendik, who goes on through. So Cafaro, it's having a disaster. That's maybe change your mapping on your keyboard or your wheel, but that's super unlucky. Wow, I've done that on pit exit a number of times. Driven in, pitted, driven out, hit the off button instead of the pit limiter.
I've done it. What I've also done is when you're in the pits as well is hit the starter once and then you hit it again because you think it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why am I going anywhere? Oh, crap.
Oh, the magic of forgetting which button is the pit limiter and which one is the ignition. Magic that will continue to entertain and frustrate us all, I'm sure, going through our ACC careers. I was really shocked at myself when I did that for the first time. I was sort of banging the steering wheel going, why did I put that button next to the start ignition? That was a bad idea.
So there's a top tip, ladies and gentlemen. Don't put your pit limiter near your starter button.
Yeah, and if you've got one of those sticky print out a label thing, do that. Do that, right? My mistake was that I put it on the opposite side of my steering wheel. One was square, one was circle. Problem is, in my mind, I get those two mixed up sometimes. So I was smashing the circle button going, why isn't it going faster than 50?
There we go. See, full of great racing advice here in Split Blue as this battle is raging on, and Bell is right on the back here of Sebi again. But Sebi with that really interesting lines and driving style. Again, watch Sebi run it nice and wide and then cut it back in. We've seen that all race. This is starting, I reckon, to frustrate Bell a little bit. She's just thinking, I've got the pace here, but I just cannot get past this car.
Yeah, I really like it. I mean, I think he's... Every time, I mean, there's a mental aspect to this as well. Like, how do you kind of convince a driver behind that there's no gap? Well, this is the way to do it. This is one really good way of doing it, because every time Bell looks for that gap, the gap disappears almost instantly.
Very much. Oh, it took a little too much curve there, Bell. That could have been nasty. And there's Bub now. He's waiting for a mistake, but these two are showing that it's not going to come easy. So if Bub now wants his position, he's going to have to actually try and make this happen.
Yeah, he's only got 5 minutes left to do it, so about 4 laps remaining in this race. The gap at the top between Kale and Vediger is now 10.5 seconds, another 11.5 back to Convoy, and then McKellar, battle between McKellar and Apreciado, has kind of just sort of dried up a little bit. We won't, well, it's... Well, yeah, anyway, I was trying to find something. I couldn't find anything in those last moments there. But no, so the gaps at the top just spreading out and spreading out. They're all pretty much secured. Right now, it's all down to these three for position 6.
I just want to give a shout out to Parkin as well, who's currently leading our Pro-Am class from Ashley Vediger and Salvaggio there. Oh no, Lewis, sorry. They're our top 3. Here is Lachlan Parkin at the moment. Really solid race as well, down in 12th position. Nice job in the McLaren. Pretty much got a 5-second gap there from Ashley Rediger, so looking really comfortable to take the Pro-Am win. And look at that visibility. That's the visibility you want.
Feels like a breath of fresh air.
It does, doesn't it? Wow. That's what the track looks like.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can see a braking marker. Oh, look at that. Amazing. Yeah, but you're right. Parkin's had a good race. Out and clear now, which is nice and fun. Always good to do. Allows you to get your head down. Just focus in on the night time. Focus in on the braking zones. Focus in on the wet weather. Feel the car. Whereas right now, for Bell, Bubnow, and Sebi, they're having to do a lot more than just feel the car and watch their braking zones because there's spray in the window. The only person who hasn't got spray right now, and oh, that was an interesting cut back there from Sebi. I don't think that was a slide, but nonetheless, still doing well. On board now with not quite sure who that is. Beg ahead though in the monster McLaren. So I think, if I'm correct, that is McLaws.
No, that is Kale actually lapping Beg there at the moment.
So it is.
Kale is on the charge, 11.5 seconds to the good. It's been another wet weather masterclass here from our championship leader and starting to put a real stamp of authority on this championship. This will extend his lead heading into round 5 at Paul Ricard. Be interesting to see if the McLaren can fight back and of Convoy and also the Porsche there on Vedica. Not too sure the strengths and weaknesses of Paul Ricard for each car. So I'm sure we'll find that out during the week as the drivers will have the chit-chat, as they always do, and we find out all the tidbits of information, and that's why I always keep an eye on the driver chats, because that's where you find out all your spicy bits of gossip and info.
That's right, yeah. Look at the Driver Academy. Of course, for those of you who do not know, there is a OOR, Octane Online Racing Driver Academy, and I have to say, having been part of that for a little bit... Whoa, that's a slide! Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh, she's caught onto that. Oh, that's epic. Oh, slide and catch of the race. That was back. Never said from Bell. Wow-wee.
COTD, catch of the race. That, I mean, we've seen 3 or 4 now from Bell, but that from her was absolutely brilliant stuff. She went 45 degrees into turn 3. I've never seen that before. That's amazing.
That was incredible to watch. Wow.
And to retain the position as well. So she's not only held it, but held it without losing a position to Bob now. Now she's just got a little bit of work to do to catch back up to the back of Sebi. I think that might have knocked her confidence just a little bit. Bob now is looking fierce in that rear mirror.
Bob now's probably sitting there watching that slide going, oh, I've got this position. She's going to spin. Definitely going to spin. She hasn't spun. What the hell?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's a very confused man right now.
Amazing. Great stuff there from Bell. She's shown us a couple of really great moments of epic car control, but that takes the cake. That is one of the best I've seen. That was brilliant. So we got just a tick over a minute to go. So Kale, looks like it's going to be... Here we go. We're going to get ourselves a action replay here.
Oh, yes, please.
This is going to be great to watch. Look at this. Right in sideways. Backs it in motocross style and catches the rear. That is great driving.
Do you think Sebi had a moment thinking there, goes, oh, wow, she's really good on the brakes through that corner. Oh, that's brilliant stuff. Loving that, loving that. And just looking a little bit further down the grid as well, of course, from P10 down, we've got Ben Deek, who's going to get elevated up into P10. Parkin leading our Pro-Am class at the moment, 4.6 seconds gap back to Ashley Vediga. And we've got Boxell, who is now 4th in the AM class. And I think he was just having a little battle there, maybe with Hayden Marsh. But Hayden Marsh now in P15. We've got Steve Lewis, who had a buttload of penalties. Excuse the language, excuse my French. Just getting ready for Paul Ricard. A lot of penalties in the 959 car, who is our leader in Pro-Am at the moment. But he's, in terms of the standings, now down in P16. Begg in P17. McLaws in P18. Ring in P19. And Salvagio in P20.
So just going, time is about to tick over to 0000. And Ethan Kale, who is, this will be his final lap. It's been a fantastic performance. Really has not put a foot wrong all race. Got pole position, got a great start. Hasn't really been headed. Got the fastest lap as well. And he's going to go on and take the victory. That was a little heart in the mouth moment just there. As he comes through the final turn, and Ethan Kale has put on another wet weather masterclass and extends his championship lead and takes the victory. What a fantastic drive from Ethan Kale.
We have not had him on board for a lot this race. We didn't need to. He's absolutely run away with it. Joshua Vediga comes across the line to take P2, and then Convoy, all of them having a little bit of a victory slide out of the last corner. Top stuff from Convoy as well. He'll take P3 to help himself in the championship. And then P4 coming through, turned 13 and 14 now up towards the last corner. It is McKellar who did find a way past his teammate of Apreciado, but only separated by 2.5 seconds on track. Well done for P4 there and P5. Well done. And yeah, I think now we're waiting for the battle between Sebi Bell and Bub now to come across the line. I don't think it's changing.
Now it looks like Sebi is going to hold on, but I'm going to give a driver of the day to Sebi and Bell for putting on an absolutely magnificent show. That was fantastic to watch. And it looks like Bub now will finish in 8th. 9th position will be Thistlewaite and Lawrence, who looks like will drop down the order. So here is Thistlewaite going to cross the line now. But in my opinion, actually every single driver's driver of the day in these conditions. Well done. Thistlewaite's actually, he's pretty happy with that. He's pretty happy with that 9th position. He'll take that in the big bad Merc.
Any day, even in a Merc. Yep, 100%.
As Lawrence crosses the line, but it looks like he will drop a position at Bendeck. So Bendeck will round out the top 10. And of course then Lachlan Parkin will be our top pro-am. He will finish in most likely 12th position. So great drive here from Lachlan Parkin. And that's actually going to really that's going to do his Pro-Am Championship charge and world of good as well. So he's going to close up a bit of a gap there, which will help him out a lot. So great drive there from Lachlan Parkin, and Vediger will finish in 13th position. Nice drive. Boxall in 14th, and Lewis, who looks like he's already finished. So Boxall will be our last driver there on the lead lap. How good was that?
Oh, man. As we were saying earlier, we just slap another 6 hours on this race.
Yeah.
We just keep them going through the night, because that level of respect on track, of driving skill, control out on track, top job from everyone. Absolutely brilliant race to behold. And yeah, I think I agree with you. There is no driver of the day, although for me, that probably would go to Bell. She had a great race. I think drivers of the day, well done to everyone in Split Blue. As far as I can tell, they have kept it incredibly clean and given us an incredibly entertaining race in absolutely the most challenging conditions at one of the toughest tracks out there. So well done. Overall, we're going to have a little look at our overall race. Here we've got Kale, of course, P1 there, leading Joshua Vediger from P2, and then Comboy in P3. Over in Pro-Am class, Silver class, sorry. We've got to remember the order of these things. We do have McKellar and then Appreciado and Thistlewaite, P1, 2, and 3 respectively. In the Pro-Am class, it is Parkin and then Ashley Vediger and then Steve Lewis. And rounding out our AM class with some mega results, Sebi, Bell, and Lorenz. Lorenz just slipping outside of the top 10, but great result. Almost all 3 of them in the top 10, but that 15-second penalty for Lorenz will drop into P11. What a race, Sean. I have had a blast.
That was absolutely fantastic to watch. Really enjoyed that. Great conditions, some really top skilled driving out there. Really looking forward to seeing what Split Red does, which is coming up just after this short break. And of course, tomorrow night, be sure to catch the Sim Magic GT3 Cup Series. And of course, next week, it'll be Split Yellow and Split Green turned around the Nurburgring on Wednesday night. But other than that, Cookie, been a pleasure as always. And we're going to step out and dry ourselves off, all right?
I think that's right, yeah. But being a pleasure as always, Sean. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you to stewards. And thank you to our broadcasters. Catch you guys.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with Split Red.
Cool. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Split Blood in OOR's Sprint Series with Simrigs in round 4 at Nurburgring, and looks like we have a little bit of inclement weather, heaven forbid, a wet race tonight. Good evening, Grant. How are you?
I'm pretty good, bit tired, just done a long race, very tricky.
Oh, that's right. You just came straight from your driving seat into the comms booth. Thank you for that. Tough race?
Very tough, it's very hard to see in the night, and as well the rain on top of that just made it extra hard.
Oh, I bet it would. Yeah, I'm fortunate to be in split green, so I get to see all the mayhem and see if I can learn something. What car were you driving?
I was in the McLaren, so pretty deadly.
I saw some of the Porsches were up there, as we see in the free practice session here. No, actually, we're in qualifying. Qualifying start. I thought we were in free practice. Apologies for that, folks. So 11 and a half minutes to go in qualifying here. 4 p.m. Rain is coming down as the wipers are going. We have the class championship leader, John Jean-Pierre Sonicus, car number 44 in the McLaren, leading the way. In on the out lap, by the looks of it. Doesn't look like he's set a valid lap yet. So I'll just go through the championship standings at the moment. So we have Jean-Pierre Sonicus, car number 44, pro class in McLaren. We have Robert Maddox, car number 765, pro in the Ferrari. Moyen Sofik, car 711, pro class in the Ferrari. Heading down to silver class. Sorry about that, dropped my piece of paper. We have Imran Zarali, in car number 12 in the silver class in BMW. Lucas Keys, number 2, silver class in Aston Martin. And third in silver class, we have Leo Dreyer in McLaren. Going down to Pro-Am, we have Harsh Kumar in the Ferrari, car number 17. Ash White, car number 928, Pro-Am in the Porsche. And Scott Rochford, car number 332 in the Lamborghini. Into N class, we have Gary Lau leading the way, car number 94 in BMW, and Jared Richardson, car number 22 in the Ferrari. And our last driver of note is Philip Mercer in car number 88 in the Ferrari, third place in N class. So we have some times coming in, some very quick times. We have a 2-minute 4 at the moment for the pole time, and not too far behind is Torfik in Ferrari. Any observations here, Grant?
The track is obviously going to get drier as we go on, no matter how hard it pelts down. Just the cars going around will wash the water off the circuit, so we'll probably see maybe a second faster times go up on the board. So it's all about timing, your fuel, and hopefully you don't or go off and ruin your lap.
Yeah, very excellent observation of being a second up, as we have Jean-Pierre Sonicus 1.2 seconds up in his provisional pole time, going about to cross the line very shortly. Keeps it driving well at the last corner. Only took a tiny bit of time for it, 2 minutes and 3.5. And that was his third flying lap. Yeah, we can see a drying line, as you mentioned, so good words of experience there. With 8 minutes to go, we're looking at, 4 or 5 laps?
Yeah, probably 4 laps. Drivers will probably be coming out of the pit lane after refueling. As we see Samuel, I'm guessing he's up on his time. Oh no, he's on his out lap, sorry. Just about to start his new lap. I reckon he will be up there near the end of the session.
Yeah, it's a very quick car. What would you say would be the car? Is he going wide to let someone through? No, to get a better run out of the last corner, to get a faster run down to the pit lane straight here. Bit of a gap between P3 and P4 so far in provisional qualifying of 0.7 and 0.8 of a second. Down to 6th place, we have Kate Johnson, number 52, with 1 second behind the leading class. So, with roughly half of qualifying over and some drivers still yet to do many more laps, we have Kai Rudin doing a pretty quick time, only 0.1 of a second behind Pierre, and still holding out in pole position.
Kyruden's 6 tenths up going to the Schumacher S's. Was that a little bit of slide? Don't think so. Coming down. What's this corner? We need to figure out the corner names. Let me get up the circuit map.
I've prepared. I have my other piece of paper. If you can hear it, I printed it out today. So Ali Kyurden is going for the hardest name, Warsteiner Curve, heading down the kink here, which is called the Ad and Bogen Curve. And it'll be the NGK chicane.
Oh no, it's coming out
I
with an
think it's
ocean.
the name on the...
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's the entrance there. Good call going right there. Found a bit of time there, Ali Kyurden. He's extra 1/10 up, 0.7, and that should give him pole position by 0.2. Good drive there. Going down to the turn 1, which is the Yokohama curve. As a couple of drivers pulled to the side to change tyres and quickly go out again.
Samuel's just half a second up. This might not get him too far into the top 10, judging by the timing screens. It's 2 seconds off of, was it Kyruden's time?
That's right, Kyurden.
Yes, Kyurden. So he comes around the final corner, loses a bit of time on entry, gains it back on exit, flying through, going past the line, nearly 8 tenths up. Where's that going to put him? P5, about a tenth off of P4.
Wow, it's looking like it's going to be, unless some extra times come through, P1 and P2, Kyurden, Son and Jean-Pierre have got a stranglehold on the front row here, leading in P3, back in P3, J Mags is almost 1 second behind the pole time.
I reckon we'll see the times close up as the session goes on. We might see a sub 2 minute maybe if the circuit dries up a lot quicker.
Yeah, I see on the weather map there, it's in 10 minutes, there'll be heavy rain decreasing, but I'm not sure how quickly that 10 minutes is going to start for us. Currently, it's heavy rain.
I still reckon the amount of cars on the track will just wash that rain off as soon as it comes.
Yeah, see, Sonic is pretty much matching the time that he's, the delta that he had earlier. He's had a good run through the NGK chicane here as he leads into the last turn, half a tenth up on his previous best delta, getting an excellent run out of the corner there. 0.4 up, this should slot him into pole position by 0.13 of a second, where P3 is back by 1.1 seconds. P8, we have Bechtold in the Porsche, 1 second up on his time, with being 1.2 behind the pole time.
Could be quite a good lap.
It's looking like he's got a good drive out of the last turn, making lots of time. 2 tenths just in the entry there. Good powering out. So dropping a tiny bit of time there, and it slides up to P3, 0.6 behind the leaders.
Well, that's a great lap from Stefan.
Torfig, our previous P2 runner, running around on this slightly damp circuit. 0.9 up, time increasing, as delta increasing, I should say, and improving his time. Wow. Does he keep it going? Is it still a valid lap? Very well. Oh, he's dropping time. Unfortunate there. He was just under 1 second leading into the chicane and dropped a bit of time there. Still plenty of time for an extra couple of laps, but that is definitely going to improve his time, and it pushes him up to P4. Very respectable.
They were 1 second off of the leaders. Coming with 3 minutes left in the session. Zuali is half a second up, 1.7 seconds off the leader. This could put him into the top 10 if he lines his whole lap up. Coming through the RTL curve.
Oh, well done.
Now going through the hairpin, so the second hairpin. 8 tenths up now, dropping a bit of time. Will he gain it back on exit? No, he won't. Or a little bit.
Well, it's a bit of improvement there. Got a car in front. White hamper here. The car in front is not on a valid lap. Definitely not on a valid lap now. Looks like tried to dive out of the way and give some room to Zahali there. I always find this corner here very tricky in the dry. The entry's fast, slow, fast on the exit. So Ali drops a little bit of time. So that's going to cost him down to straight until the NGK chicane. Ooh, drop 0.25 there. Can he get it back under braking? Oh, a little twitchy of the car. Pushing extremely hard. Keeps the car valid. Making a little bit of time there. See if we can get a good drive out of the last corner. Oh, absolutely a good drive out of the last corner. That's 0.3 up. Oh, a little bit of a slide on the final exit. Crosses the line into P8. Still a good time there.
Shady Samuel, half a second up. Was that across the line? P7. So 1 second off the leaders to Tafiq. 8/10 up on his time. Cross the line. P3 for Tafiq. Great time.
Wow, and a third driver within 0.2 of the leader. This is excellent.
Very close times. John Sonicus. 3/10 up. Going into the RTL curve. I found that this corner that you mentioned was quite hard in the dry. I found to be the exact same as in the dry as it is the wet. But the corner after becomes a corner. You have to sometimes do a slight lift. Very tricky in these conditions. Going through the chicane. Very stable through there. Punch it through. Just a little lift on the exit there to calm the car down through the final corner. 4/10 up. Or 5, gaining a bit of time. Looks like he'll be 4/10 up. That'll increase his time to a 2:02.2. Great lap.
Excellent. 2:02.20. Excellent time. And now we have Ali Karudin needing to make an extra half a second the remaining part of this lap to get snatch pole. Will not be able to improve his time. This is the hot lap. This is the last lap that will be able to be achieved. As the count is coming down to 10 seconds left in qualifying. All drivers on the Vettel lap now will be their final laps. Oh, did find some time there, 0.3. So as we see, we'll still have a few more times to come through. Ali's found an extra 10th through the previous 2 corners leading into the NGK chicane. Finding a lot of drivers actually finding a lot of time in this last little sector, especially in the middle of this last apex. Finding a lot of time here and just losing a little bit on the exit, pushing very, very hard. 0.5 up. May get it.
Or nearly a 10th.
Oh, that's a very tight time of 2:02.3. Taufik for the moment holds P3. As we have Bachtold, Stefan, 0.3 up in position 22. Just could give me a few positions here. And this is John Sonicus, not having the fastest time day, being back down in 15th position. Slightly even on his times, may not be able to improve, but the cars around him, he can certainly jump them. As we see, Bachtold pulls into 18th position with a 2 minutes 4.7. Good job. So as we look at the weather, it's still heavy rain, no change there. Oh, and that's off. As we have our grid finalized, 2.5 minutes to go until the formation lap. Do you want me to take everyone through the race format tonight?
Why not?
So we have a 1 hour race, mandatory pit stop for tyres, refueling is optional. With a 5-minute pit window block out at the beginning and the end of the race. So there's a 15-minute pit window opportunity. It's an evening rain race. What we got for the weather at the moment, that's medium rain and then increasing to heavy plus, and then in half an hour it'd be heavy minus rain. So for your race, it wasn't thunderstorms, but it was like torrential rain, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very wet. It was close to flooding, I'm pretty sure, actually. It felt like it was flooded, the track, but I didn't say it.
Looked pretty spicy, and by spicy water. Any aquaplaning areas where puddles?
Turn 1 and turn 2, yeah, they're probably the biggest spots. Big puddles going to the exit of them. They really caught me out a few times.
Ooh, okay. And what would you say would be the best for the weather and also at night, the better overtaking opportunities? Where would you set someone up?
I would probably go, yeah, turn 1, still probably the best opportunity since the braking mark is so hard to spot, especially in the inside. People usually brake a lot earlier for that one. And turn 3 is another good one.
In the middle of the, what's it, the Mercedes curve? Mercedes Arena area through there? Like the two tight left-handers, or is it the right-hander after? Down that little straight.
Yeah, the right-hander left. Yeah, 2 right-handers, yeah, you're right. Sorry, just brain turned off for a minute.
No worries, you're still recovering from your race. I bet you the brain cells are still recovering and getting realigned again for back to normality. Just asking if we could move the view on the camera up the list so we can call out the driver list if we may. We're just looking at P6 of Hill at the moment. As we have the leading AM driver, Gary Lau, and P27. Excellent job again by Gary. It's 2 races in a row. He's doing quite well. We'll see how he goes tonight. So we have on pole Jean-Pierre Sonicus, Ali Karuden, Torfik, Baxtol, Mags, Hill, Johnson, Samuel, Kumar, Andrea. Down P11, we have Zoeli, Keys, McDonald, White, Palmer, Malden, Rochford, Smee, Brad, Zikri, Fleming, Diesco, and Joe Doe. Sorry there. Chalmers, Marco, Bushel, Gary. Oh, is that 2 drivers starting from the pit lane? We have, is that Maddox in the pit lane and Bushel starting from the pit lane as the formation lap starts off?
This might make it a bit more spicy on the start.
Yeah, tactical decision or accidental or technical?
I reckon it would have to be accidental. Because now they're going to have to go through the whole field as someone destroys the 100 board. That might affect a few drivers who had that as their main braking zone.
Yeah, especially as Maddox starting from P16. That's a long way to catch up. Got over 28 drivers in this race tonight.
It's a few drivers. Was it John Sonicus who was also starting quite far back?
Yeah, it was 15th last I saw. Where did he actually finish up? Oh, look. Looks like John has disconnected there. We got word from our pit lane reporter. Thank you. We'll see if we can get back in time. I've actually had disconnects when my session changed from qualifying to the race, and my session changes and my race and my gain completely drops. Fortunately, I was able to get back in time, but looks like it's a no for the moment for Jean-Pierre. Oh, sorry, for John. Sorry, John. Car 555 is John, and car 44 is Jean-Pierre.
Notice I got that wrong earlier. Apologies for that. As they're lining up, double file on the grid. Just about to get ready, going around. Is this the final corner?
Did I see someone go off at the back of the hairpin on the grass?
Maybe.
Or was it just a reflection off the barrier?
I'm not sure. I didn't see it.
If a driver did get off, I understand they before the double file starts, they have a chance to get back into their correct position. A bit tricky because we don't have the widget going. But once the double file starts forming, they'll need to start from the back. And you can damage your car in a barrier on the formation lap, but your other drivers around you, as we can see, are driving through each other and they're ghosted. This is going to be a very spectacular start. Sun's setting. It's getting very darker already. When the cars were on the formation lap, it looked relatively bright, I thought, but it's certainly darkening up. As cars are now setting up in a double formation, and drivers are going to get a very strong taste of what it's going to be like driving behind someone very closely.
Yeah, the spray is horrible on the first lap, so I found a little cheat where you just use bonnet cam for the first few laps, so you don't have to deal with it as much.
I think chat's going to blow up. I haven't looked at chat. I'm pretty busy.
I'm a bit blind, so that's my excuse. But it worked for me.
That's it. Drivers going through the NGK chicane. setting up there. Oh, it's going to be very hard to call who's going to do what. Some drivers are in the pit lane by accident. They're going the wrong way. Cannot. If they pit now, it's going to be stop go 30. As we have the formations, Sonicus Kairun at the front were the two fastest drivers. Looked the most confident. Torfik in third and Batchtold also good. And we are away for the round 4 of Nurburgring. Looks like Sonicus has had a respectable start. Good braking. Oh, camera change. And Kairun's been pushed a little bit wide. Looks like that was Torfik pushing through in the middle. 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide, and a couple taps at the back there. Cars getting through. We have, was that John? Yeah, John Pierre has stretched away. Kairun has managed to keep on the second position. We have Torfik. Is that the Torfik in third and Batchtold in fourth, maintain. 2 cars side by side. I think that's Hill and Johnson going there. It's going to be tough going into the inside corner. Better run on the outside, but holding the inside, you will get the positioning. Going through slower right-hander as we have, that was Kuma and Dreyer back there, unfortunately. Sorry, folks, I got that wrong. Rest of the drivers streaming down to the hairpin. Good chance to outbrake yourself. Haven't seen anyone go off. Couple of cars going a little bit deep, nothing significant. Oh, there was. Call it, Grant.
You jinxed it. You said no cars going off, and boom, that's a very unfortunate. It's going into the hairpin. Tight braking zone, easy to miss your braking point. Hopefully, no damage was done.
Heavy fuel in the wet at night in spray, always a tricky time. Never intentional. And yeah, it's more like just getting used to the first hairpin heavy braking zone. So John Pierre has stretched the legs out a little bit in Ali Kairun there. John's a little bit close behind. Torfik not too far up behind as well. Then we 2 close cars of Hill and Batchtold going down into the NGK chicane. The field is really stretched out here for lap 1. Everyone is going through the NGK chicane. That'll be tricky. Oh, as we have, is that Hill? No, Hill 2, 3. Dry having a look on Mags into the last corner. Not a bad opening lap. It's car still coming through the final chicane in the last corner as we have our leader going through into turn 1. A couple of drivers pulling out to get a better look into turn 1 and get some visuals happening there. Sun's still up, barely. Can't see the track, but the lights on the cars are definitely taking effect as well as the circuit lights. Oh, that was Mags looked like a little bit wide there through turns 2. Managed to keep position.
Yeah, JP Sonicus is already making quite a big gap at the front. 1.7 seconds car behind. So I hope he's probably hoping to extend that gap, get out of any chance of Kairun getting a slipstream and gaining on him at all.
A couple of yellow dots happening through the Mercedes curve area. Just some drivers getting a little bit. It's still compacted. Someone goes a little wide, will go off a little bit, and another yellow flag as we look at that was turn 6. Oh, that's a long way off circuit. Scott Rochford having a bad one. Gets back on and gets going again.
That was
sorry, that's Richardson. Bit colourblind, sorry people. I thought we were looking at... we have Richardson. Trailing at the back, still in the race and not too far behind the rest of the pack. Can catch that time up quite easily as Jay Doe in P28. Oh, he's gone off again. Having a hard time of it tonight. Tricky race tonight for sure. As we go back to the P5 of Batchtold. So we see the back half of the grid stretching out a little bit, and we got the leaders also having some gaps happening there. We got pretty much from P1 through to P5 is separated by about 1.5, 2 seconds. So leaders pacing themselves, do you think?
Yeah, probably just saving their tyres, maybe going long, hoping for the circuit to dry maybe, or get wetter, just to do some strategy, save some fuel as well.
Ooh, speaking of weather, heavy rain forecasted for the next 30 minutes, and starting from the next 10, it's a heavy rain less. So, what does that mean?
Surely we get flooded.
It'd be a crazy race if it does. So, leaders still stretching out. The mid pack is quite tight here. Who's got the closest battles? We've got two silver drivers in Keys and Zali quite close together. Also, a pro driver and Kumar, pro-land driver, also quite close together. It's a good pack happening. I was watching the stream from last race. Two drivers. Oh, there we go. Keys has gone very sideways through there. Aston Martin losing some traction through. What corner was that? That was turn 6. Oh, I apologize. That was turn 7 before the hairpin.
See someone in the comments, what is it, Connor Hind? Says I'm ashamed for using bonnet cam. I'm not ashamed of it. I would use it once. That was my only excuse. I'm gonna get bullied for that so much now.
Yes. It is a public forum.
Yeah.
And with the cars being so close together, you get the effect of the spray from the car in front of Keys. So Kumar, I feel, is getting, or Zahili's getting the spray from Kumar as well as from Keys. It's getting very tricky.
Yeah, spray spreads quite a ways far back. So even if you're about maybe 100, 200 meters, you can still see the effects of it. Horrible. Who's that? Keys pitting pretty early. Pit window must have just opened.
Yeah.
We had damage.
Is that another driver as well? It's Samuel in the pits.
Oh. Must be wanting some clear air maybe.
Definitely good strat. With the wetter tyres, the performance is a bit more balanced, would you say, over the dries? So going along on the wets is at the end of the stint, would you say there'd be less time difference?
Yeah, there'd definitely be less time difference. It'll be, I'm not sure if the undercut will work too well because of how long it takes for the tyres to warm up in the wet. But hopefully it works out for them. We are on with Kai Rudin, set the fastest lap at 2:05.1. Very quick, chasing down JP Sonicus. Gap is 2 seconds.
Yeah, that gap has stretched out a little bit from lap 2, but just got the drivers just getting their eyes in, seeing where the grip is, where the puddles are, how heavy you can brake. We'll see how this turns out because these two were level pegging in qualifying, and they've stretched a 4-second gap on third place Johnson. And Johnson's not alone. He's got Torfik half a second behind him. And then we got, again, 1.5 second, 1.2 further back for Bachtold, Hill, Mags, and Drea.
Still believe there's no word from John Sonicus. Must have not been able to rejoin the race, which is quite unfortunate.
Oh, that's a shame to see that. Never want to see anyone disconnect or have any technical issues.
Could have been a good comeback drive starting from P15.
A strategic entertainment drive.
Yes.
Oh, Johnson getting very taily through the final chicane. A little bit wide and cuts it. Oh, you got to be careful on that curve. I've touched that curve in a dry a couple of times. It's completely dragged my car into the Armco.
Very slippery stuff. Going to turn 1, braking just after the 150 in the wet. 100 board was taken out in the formation lap, unfortunately, so that might still affect some drivers. There's quite a wide line. Cutting in late apex for Johnson. Trying to not get too much pressurized from Tafiq behind. Trying to minimize mistakes.
Yeah, I have had a little go in the new McLaren before. I found it very tricky getting out of the slow corners. I got very taily. It was not a fun time for me.
Yeah, I honestly just had to short shift in the McLaren, or be very easy on the power. Especially from gear 1 to gear 2, otherwise I found it alright. Setup was nice though.
Oh, they're certainly pushing very hard. As Jean-Pierre has taken the fastest lap and stretched the gap by an extra second to 3 seconds over P2 of Kai Rudin. Johnson about 5.5 seconds behind, and Tofik, as we can see, can read his mind. He's that close behind.
Yeah. You go.
I was just going to say, yeah, the top 8 are actually still close to each other. Still early days yet. There'll be some blue flag traffic coming up in probably about a little bit more than half distance, I would suggest, anticipate. So it's all to play for P3, I believe.
Yeah, strategy might come into a bit more. Johnson might be saving his tyres a little bit as well, just so he can maybe do a bit of more of an overcut on the cars ahead.
Okay, can we see Maddox there down to P23 or higher? Still going. He had the pit start. Gary Lau, good job AIM driver, holding out there in P21. Looking for Maddox. Am I going blind? Am I not seeing him?
Yeah, we're on in P17.
Oh, there we go. It's looking around, isn't it? It moved and I looked away. Oh dear. Good job from the pit lane start. 17th position already. 2.5 seconds behind P16. Excellent job. Go well, man. Go well.
Isn't Samuel down into 27th, 28th after their early stop? They might catch up to the back of the pack when they're closing in on the pit window for all the other cars.
Yeah, I think he's had a better stop than Samuel because only 1 second behind. He's really closed up. The Aston pretty good. Pre 1.8 or pre 1.9 we got all my Aston driving experience. It was very nice and very easy to drive in the wet. 1.9 I've got no experience with it, so I'm curious to see. Also driver dependent. I'm curious to see how well he goes up against Samuel, if he can actually close or pass. Or the gap's stretching there, so maybe a little mistake, or Samuel definitely has the pace on him being the pro driver.
Samuel only 1.9 seconds behind Richardson after the pit stop, so gaining on him quite a bit as a penalty is starting to roll through.
Got a drive through already, as you we're pointing out for SME. Track limits potential.
It might be speedy on start. Someone might have caught that. One of the stewards, maybe, or.
Speeding on the start would normally be 10 seconds unless it's really, really, really bad. I think that could be track limits. Pretty easy to do in the wet.
Yes, it is, especially Schumacher S's, which is coming through now.
As Maddox drifts through the first part. That was awesome. He's on it.
I found that the Schumacher S's was very tricky with the green stuff. Very slippery, dragged you out and exit quite a bit.
I dragged you out. No slippery for like over rotation under acceleration. Just pulled you out.
Yeah, just pulled you out quite a bit because if you turned anymore, I felt like the rear was very unstable.
What about the kink there with the what they call the grass crete that's on the side? Did you take advantage of that? As we saw Maddox go a little bit wide there.
That is the scariest corner on the track in the wet because you think you can take it flat and then the car says no and either drags you out or gives oversteer, I found. So sometimes a slight lift, sometimes not.
Okay, noted. Yeah. The sun seems to be getting a bit darker now. Going to get a bit harder for the drivers. A little bit. Here's another one. I'm drawing on your experience from the last race. How far behind the car in front would you say that the spray started hindering your ability to see?
Probably about 100 and 150 meters. So yeah, probably about a second and a half. You can start seeing the effects.
Okay, so Maddox here currently would be, you would say he's got a clear view.
Yeah, very clear. 3 seconds behind.
Okay, good to know. As we have Delico in chasing down Zikri.
One of the only remaining Bentleys in sprints now. Car's getting a bit old as he goes wide, and Diallo just takes advantage of that, goes down the inside. Just a bit unlucky for the Bentley of Zikri.
Well, sticking with it though. Bit of a fight back, pushing hard. This is great racing in the wet. Oh, I cannot see any braking markers, and the turning points look horrendous. completely dependent on the car in front to make the turn. You follow someone through making a mistake. I guess that'd always be a risk there. Following so hard, you miss your apex and you can follow the other car off.
Yeah, missing your braking marker is very plausible, especially turn 1. You miss that, and if you look at the outside curb, you go straight on.
Just Ali Karudin's taken back fastest lap and maintaining the 3-second gap to the leader.
Yeah, he's pulling away from Johnson behind. Gap's now 8.7 seconds. Tafiq still holding right behind Johnson. And Bachtold's right on Tafiq as well, so a little 3-car battle there for maybe 4th place up for grabs.
So Johnson slowly becoming the cork in a bottle there. Still a fast pace though. That's a very fast cork. Because I'm looking at the gaps between 5 through to 8, and they're all pretty much the same as what we saw a few laps ago. With 15 minutes down, only 2 drivers, from what we can tell, has taken the early pit stop. They're both actually driving back through traffic, so it may not have worked out well for them.
Hopefully they can find a gap through the traffic as they're going through the Schumacher S's now. 3rd gear in the Porsche. Yeah, not taking that green stuff on the exit.
I reckon the inside of this corner here, I reckon it'd be everyone's giving it a very, very wide berth. And this corner here as well, you hit that curve there in the dry, can push you quite wide. And a lot of drivers, I want to see these 3 drivers giving it a lot of respect for that corner, staying in the middle. As Karudin's slowly slipping back a little bit more from Jean-Pierre. Taufik not giving up. Very wild and fast through the NGK chicane as they lead into the final corner. Looking like the McLaren's got a little bit more grip. Doesn't need to be sliding too much. Taufik goes a little bit wider, trying to maintain their speed through the corner. Cannot. Looks like Johnson's pulling way down the straight. Fast car.
I believe a few drivers, as I just saw, Tafiq short shifting from 1st to 2nd out of the final corner. That might be the strat for the slow corners in the wet at the Nurburgring.
Car in P20, Smee, has not served the drive-through yet. Once you get that notification, you got that lap, one more lap, and then you must start. Whoa! And back again. Exit stage left, come back stage right. Looked like maybe a track limit there. These two are fighting hard. Johnson taking a wide line there.
Thank you. I just reminded Todd Smee to serve his drive-through because I believe he's serving it now. I just saw him falling through the order unless he went off track.
Ooh. And the pit symbol come up. That's good. Unfortunate for Smee, but fortunate that had the consciousness of mind. Is that the right term? Presence of mind. That's the one. To take the drive through. Better to serve it and keep racing. You'll never know where you'll finish. Always keep racing.
Anything can happen, especially in the wet. 40 minutes to go, not even a third of the way through the race now. So drivers are just starting probably to get into the rhythm. Still close together though, starting to get into separate packs.
Here's one for you. We've got Taufik going down to the King. Well, think you'll have a look through the last corner. I reckon the last corner he might have a little look here. He looked very racy through there, but Johnson had the better power down. Looks like he take it a little bit easier, keeping gap. Johnson pushing very, very hard. Car twitching all over the place. Can Taufik get a better run out of the last corner? Looks like Johnson's gone a little bit wider than normal, but I think that's his normal line. A little bit wide on the exit there. Taufik much closer here. Has he got the slipstream? He's getting close. Tiny bit of netcode. Having a look, let him know he's going to be there. And he is not going to push his luck.
Johnson goes wide.
Oh, yes. Taufik keeps it on the inside. Good driving. And it was, Johnson's sliding again. He's pushing very, very awkward driving. Opportunity here for Taufik. It was on the next 3 corners, I think, where Taufik really has the advantage over Johnson. especially this corner here. Yeah, as you see, Johnson to get a little bit very twitchy on the exit, where Torvik managed to keep it very straight.
Okay, Ruden's closed the gap a few tenths. The gap's now 3 seconds again between JP and himself. As Tafiq just gets really close to Johnson through turn 7 or 8. Going due to the Dunlop Carrere, is that how you say it? Makes a little move. Not enough space though, as Johnson looks to get a good exit, but I don't believe he's done that. Tafiq trying to look around the outside, doesn't get the space through the Schumacher S's, still staying behind.
The Graham Hill and J Mags are starting to close up, only 1.1 each behind. These two, Johnson and Torvik, aren't really fighting and slowing themselves down. The pace is still maintaining really well. And a quick look at the leaders, they have stretched the gap quite broadly. That looks like it's getting close to be well, in the last sector, they're more than a sector in front, and the leaders are clear in front, so no blue flag traffic for them yet. So it's a 12-second gap between P2 and P3, and the gaps between 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, we can tally that all up to be about 5 seconds, or 4 seconds. If I add in Dreyer for P8, that's 5 seconds. Like I was saying, I think P3, for any one of the P3 to P8 at the moment, are on for a podium shot.
Yeah, Johnson cannot make any big mistakes right now, otherwise he might be stuck in the dirty air behind, which could cost him quite a bit of time and stop him from getting a podium.
Do you think the battling between Johnson and Torvik is slowing themselves down, or is it just the handling and the difficulty of driving the McLaren on the circuit is keeping the pack closer together?
Yeah, I believe the fighting's starting to let Bachtold and Graham Hill catch up a little bit, so they might want to work together to try and bridge the gap again. But again, this is racing, so they might not work together and just go full send.
Too soon for a strategic undercut?
Yeah, a bit too soon. Nearly halfway through the race. Again, the tyre warm-up on the wets is quite slow, I find. So I don't think the undercut will work too much well in these conditions.
Righto. Oh, it's looking at the headlights shining off the surface there. The sun has definitely set tonight.
Yeah, some corners will start to become blind for the apex and the breaker markers, so drivers are going to have to be on it and no daydreaming or lapse of concentration. Otherwise, that could cost them the race.
Okay, in 10 minutes, I didn't see the click over, but in 10 minutes we have heavy rain less, but at 30 minutes we have heavy rain plus. So it's going to be a very wet end to the race. Temperature is 15 degrees track, 15 degrees ambient, very cool, and the wind is 3 kilometers an hour. And it's, still raining. So just looking at the championship leading, so we got John Pierre, who's the leading pro driver out in front. Leading silver driver is Zikri, and Zikri is where? I'll let you find Zikri while I look for our pro-am. So Zikri's currently running P10 behind 3 of his compatriot silver drivers. Not sure if they're in front of him. I'll check that later, as we have Kumar in the car number 7 in the Pro-Am. Yep, he's leading the championship and the Pro-Ams tonight. And Gary Lau leading the AM championship and the AM class tonight. Well done to all those drivers.
Yeah, JP Sonicus just gained another made a gap of another half a second on, was it, Kai Ruden? Sorry, just had a...
It's alright. Keep going, man. Yeah, I bet you're still tired from your last race. I reckon you're ready for a nap.
Oh, mate. I could hit the deck right now. were, as Bechtold is half a second off of Tafik, maybe trying to get away past without letting Graham Hill through if he makes a large mistake.
Actually, one thing we should keep an eye on is Kumar and P9, 6.9 seconds behind this group. We'll see if this group is actually slowing themselves down and if Kumar can actually close in on them. Because the gap between P9 and P10 is also 10 seconds. So Kumar driving solo at the moment in a great amount of clean air and no pressure from behind.
Might be approaching the pit window for a few drivers, reaching halfway through the race. So some drivers might start thinking a bit more strategy. Should they stay out longer? Should they come in, do maybe an undercut if that's going to work? Some drivers in the top 5-6 might think, oh, I'm slowing too much down in this pack, and might think about pitting.
Yeah, just looking at the map to see where they could fit back in. And the map does have some gaps, but I'm unable to work out where they can slide back in. We had a yellow flag at the curve of the Warsteiner curve. That's the one before the big main straight. There's a bit of a yellow there. Leaders coming through the hairpin as this next battle pack is just approaching it now. They're not too far behind, so the leaders are definitely well in front. We can see the gap between the leaders on the map. The triangle on the map is our leader, and the red dot on the map is the driver that we're currently watching. So all the grey dots are everyone else.
Not sure if that's been there for a while, but car 20 has gotten a 15-second time penalty. Unlucky for them. Hopefully they can recover. Hopefully they don't have too much damage from if it was an incident that they caused.
Yeah, I noticed that one when the unfortunate drive-through happened for Smee early on, way back then. So it's been around, probably a lap one incident.
Yes. Maybe turn 1 might have caused that little kerfuffle.
Yes, that'll be good. It was very. I was watching. It's like 4 or 5 cars wide in the way. Oh, as Bechtold has a rough time through there, and was that Torfik going to the pits?
Yes, Torfik is coming to the pits. Braking a bit late. Well, yeah, okay.
Braking early. Didn't want to. Slippery entry. You don't want to overcook it and get a drive through. Which will be stop go 30 for speeding in the pits, which gets converted to 10 seconds. As Hill closes up on Bechtold. Bechtold got a bit wide in turn 1. Hill's going to run on the outside. No. Undercutting, potentially. Over under. No. Good driving. No harm, no foul. But the gap certainly is closed up.
Bechtold went a little bit more wide again at turn 3. Might have given Graham Hill just a little bit more of a sniff of PE4.
Right. I see the gap for Kumar back in P9. We were looking at that before. That was 6.9 seconds. It's now 5.8. I'm not sure if Torfik's pit stop has interrupted that time flow there, but the gap has stretched out from P9 to P10 on Kumar to Zachary by 1 second. A few more pit stops happening. We have Palmer in 13th. I should just notice coming in. McDonald, car number 34 in the Porsche, and someone else there near the back had just stopped as well.
Gary Lau.
Yes. Good time. It's like a 50-50 split for the strategy, which is interesting. It's we had 5 drivers going for the 50-50 split. 2 drivers went in early at about the 20 minute mark. Everyone else is going long. Ish. We will see. Coburden's closed up on Sonicus there. It's got maintained the fastest lap. The gap being brought down to 2.8 seconds. So we got, that's a feint to the pit stop as Johnson goes in.
Yeah, I think, you go.
And now we'll see if Bachtold and Hill can get the overcut happening. And who did the other pit stop? Torfik. Torfik in 18th, 0.6 of a second behind P17 Chalmers. Chalmers is pretty fast, but Torfik much faster, being one of the lead drivers and also pitting and being that close behind. Oh, that looked like a rough drive. Watching Hill there, he cut that corner and the car's got a bit of bounce. Good job keeping it straight. I think it'd be too easy just to slide out from that corner.
Yeah, I think Graham Hill was thinking for that pit stop, do whatever the cars ahead don't do. They don't pit, you pit. And then he just saw Johnson pitting, so he's like, oh, I might stay out a little bit longer.
Just saw Bitchtold go a bit wide on the exit. Very easy to get a track limit there as you try and get the... There's a lot of room you can use on that exit there. It's almost like turn 1 at Valencia, where you can just go, oh, you'll drive on the other circuit, and it's still within limits. But that one, it's actually dropped a bit further back. Was that a misgear? You looked much closer just before.
Might have been just slow speed corner, so it looked like they were a bit closer.
Okay. Mag is also right on top of hill behind, so maybe extra defending there. And Dreyer 1 second behind. Kuma's catching up, 7.4. So yes, that is the thing.
Yeah, I believe I just saw Rudin not letting JP get too far ahead. The gap was 3.2 seconds last time I checked. So pretty steady.
Yeah, it's ebbing and flowing by about between 2.5 and 3.5. I don't think they've come across traffic yet. They're getting very close to it though. With the other guys pitting, I think they're getting a bit of extra time there. A few extra cars pitting now too. At the 28 minute to go mark. So we're watching Torfik here trying to get past Chalmers. They've made some time due to people in front of them making a pit stop. So no real passes for position, just by pit strategy. Oh, he's very close. Mind you, that tic-tac car looks pretty good from... Wow, he really closed up. A bit of a defensive driving avoidance there from both drivers. Pretty good. On the green start through the Schumacher S's. Both cars surviving.
Yeah, very close going to Schumacher S's. Coming into the, was it RTS curve? RTL curve. Tricky braking zone again. Looking for the braking marker. Easy to miss it. Now I want to know, does Tafiq lift here to take it flat? That was flat, I believe. So obviously not too wet for a lift there. Brakes at the 100 ball for the chicane. As we're looking at JP Sonicus was that encountering some traffic up ahead. So blue flags might let Kai Rudin just zip in. Oh, as that was JP Sonicus pit. So that wasn't traffic, that was... Yeah, Kai Rudin and Sonicus both pit, my bad. So,
that makes sense, yes. So it's not traffic. They're racing for position on Kuma. So Kuma does not need to let the Jean-Pierre in car 44 through. They are battling for 6th and 7th. Or that... Kuma to Ferrari? That's a Ferrari. Yeah, we'll have to wait for the timing to update as we go through a couple more microsectors. And... No. It's Maddox.
oh yes.
Kuma's further up. I can't read. Sorry. I'm really bad. Oh my goodness. so Sonicus, Jean-Pierre was battling Maddox in P11. Maddox, remember, started from the pit lane. He was qualified about mid-grid P15 and without a pit stop, currently running in P11. So maybe his time back. But wow, look at that spray. That's horrendous. No wiper. Uh-oh. Are these one of your friendly drivers driving the same way with Bonnecam? This is what you see in Bonnecam?
That's what you see.
Oh, that's much different.
As I think I'm looking at the comments, Jacob Fleming's power went out, so he must have had a disconnect.
Oh no! He was racing quite well.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got Gary still in the pits. Gary Lau, our AM driver. That's a long pit stop.
He's been there for quite a while. Hopefully. He's okay. As we look at nose cam on Johnson.
I thought when you drove with bonnet cam it was like this. No, I'm only joking. So Bechtold's made a pit stop. Let's see how the pit exits work out between himself and Torfig. I think when does it go green in the pit stop? I've actually never really paid attention to it. Is it when the tyres actually get changed because that's the mandatory part of the pit stop? I know Bechtold was out, but when does it actually go green? Is it when you cross the line or when the tyres are changed because that's the mandatory component?
I believe it's when you either cross the next sector line, so seeing that you're on a new fresh set of tyres, or it's when you come out of the pits.
Okay, because I know the timing is all messed up until they cross the sector line, so you can't read too much into it unless the cars are side by side. Still a few guys going very long into the race. 25 minutes to go, so that's 5 minutes past the halfway mark. Smee yet to do his second or his first official pit stop back in P20. The lead driver we have as Sonic is P8 over Kyruden, and the gap's still a respectable 2.7 seconds combined. Maddox in the middle. Maddox very quick, obviously very quick in the wet to drive well up there into P9 before the first pit stop. Got Graham Hill going into the pits as we watch Kyruden make his way past. That's one of the easiest passes you're going to get if someone goes into the pits.
Great move from Kyruden around the outside, final corner. Tricky thing to do.
Actually, faked the pit, went straight. Good job. Nice. We got Mags. Mags wasn't in the position for a high podium finish. I know it was Hill and Bechtold and Torfig. Oh, we got Bechtold. It's in front of Torfig by 2 seconds. I just saw that pop up. And then Johnson slipped 2 positions back. He was leading this pack for a little while. Dropped an extra further 2 seconds back. So Bechtold has made 4 seconds on this group. Or on top of Johnson.
Bechtold might be on for a podium here. If he plays his cards right.
Yeah, heavy rain starting in 10 minutes, and for what I saw before, by the end of the race, it was still going to be heavy. And the torrential rain at the 30-minute mark. So Split Blood has missed all the heavy rain.
I believe we just got to answer about the green pit stop marker because I was a bit confused seeing Graham Hill ahead of John Sonicus and Kyruden, and he's done a stop, so I believe it's when you cross the line. As Tafiq, it's got a 10-second penalty.
Oh, no. Oh, that wasn't for pit speeding. Was that for... It must have been for contact.
I don't believe I saw any contact.
And I didn't see Stop Go 30 come up leaving the pits against the name, which is normally the default game penalty, where the stewards, being extremely kind to all the drivers, will convert that to 10 seconds. Just checking chat, see if they could help out here on the penalty. We are checking. We are checking.
Checking.
I still can't believe that's not a meme in Discord.
Is it not?
No, I've searched for the picture. I think the last time I tried was probably about 3 weeks ago, trying to look for it. I'm starting to lose. I'm getting really disappointed that it's not there, and I'm not good enough to make one and drop it in there. I just use them. I don't make them.
I think JP Sonicus makes them, so I might just need to recruit him to make one.
Well, he's got enough time at the front. Why not? Do it in his spare time. Nah, it's JP. Certainly, he's got to stay on ball. 3 second gap, and if that goes a bit wrong, you got to be on the ball. You can't let up.
Bit wide there from Tafiq, as he's still chasing down Graham Hill. Probably thinking about the penalty. Hopefully he's going to have to serve that to the end of the race. So hopefully he won't increase the gap to Samuel behind as much as he can. So it's at 8 seconds, 8.2 seconds I believe right now. So hopefully he'll be able to increase that gap by the end of the race.
Yeah, we've got Chalmers going for a pit stop, so that's an extra 4 seconds there back to Keys, which is 3 seconds further behind. So on a good day, that's going to be 1 place. As we have Dreyer leading the race, car number 70, over P2 in the race, Kumar, car 17. So we have a 6.5 seconds gap between P1, P2 at the moment, with Sonicus in P3, Kairud in P4, Bactol 5th, Hill 5th, Torfik 7th with a penalty, Johnson 8th, Mags 9th, and Samuel in 10th. Only 3 cars yet to pit. 2 now, as Smee makes the pit stop to clear his penalty and change tyres and potentially refuel. No mandatory requirement to refill fuel. And only 2 drivers to pit that we can see in the top 23.
Karuden, the gap is now from him to JP Sonic is 3.3. So staying quite consistent between those two. One close up by the end of the race, or JP Sonic can start just driving away.
Yeah, I think that lap time I saw there, my eyes I got a smudge on my glasses. I couldn't tell if it was a 2 minutes and 3 or 2 minutes and 8. So what times were you doing, or do you think the guys will be doing round this weather?
It looks a bit drier than my race, so during qualifying it was 203s, I'm guessing 205s, 206s. But from my race, the average was 208s race pace. So,
okay, but yeah, torrential rain then, so that might be a 203, which was close to their qualifying times here. Wow, that's really fast.
they'll be on it now. As Karun will still have no spray, being 3 seconds behind. Might be encountering some traffic soon, himself and JP Sonicus.
Kairuden pushing very hard through the Schumacher S, got on the curbs on both sides of it. It looked like there might have been a little kick of the mud on the outside of the final corner for the Schumacher S. Went a little bit wide there. And again, car twitching all over the green paint on the exit of the curbs. Driving very, very hard. As our leader now makes a pit stop.
Kairuden pushing very hard. As the gap is now 3.7, it was 3.1 last time I checked, so those slides may have cost him a bit of time in the final sector.
Pushing hard, or slow you down, or try and keep the rhythm, or pushing hard to make the time?
I said pushing hard to make the time. The track's looking like it might get a bit drier, or is that heavy rain? I don't know this track's well enough yet for that.
Looks like there's a little bit of a groove. The only unfortunate thing with Kunos in the wet weather is that the drying line is a fixed drying line. You need the number of cars to make the drying line, but it's not where the cars are driving, which is a little bit unfortunate.
I didn't know that. I was wondering why the line looked a bit odd at a few corners. I'm like, am I driving wrong?
Yes, you are. You're not driving like an AI. That's how we can tell you're human. As Kairuden's coming up to at least one lap car, as Sonicus has put on a blue flag car between himself and Kairuden. Our leader, Kuma, doing a good job. Still needing to make a pit, though, as Dreyer is starting to fall down the tower here as these goes through the sectors. Should be getting out around about P11, I think. We will see in about 30 seconds' time. As we have Bachtold, who's made the jump to P3, overall P3, once the timing gets sorted. 2 second gaps over Hill. Tolfig very close behind at 0.4, but with a penalty, and at 3.8 seconds with Johnson behind. It's going to be a close finish. See if... Sorry, we had a comments from our pit lane reporter, if you could just repeat that. Okay, we have a replay inbound. This is Torfig, and the penalty that he got dropping down the straight. Oh,
Thought the gap was there.
yeah, unfortunate. That's yeah, that was a bit unfortunate, but yeah, stewards have decided that was a penalty. Good job by Chalmers to keep the car straight and out of the wall. Yeah, unlucky.
My theory for that would be because the what do you call it, the team radio in the car says clear, but sometimes always not clear.
Very
So
true. Yes.
Maybe heard that and maybe didn't look at the radar or made just a simple mistake.
The radar, probably with the spray as well. Would it be lost on the screen possibly? As our leader pits, it's our final pit from the lead. Kumar in car number 17's pits. It's gone green, but not left. So I think it goes green once you change the tires.
It might be green when the car's dropped.
Yeah. Green when the car's dropped, and the pit comes off at on pit exit. There we go. Mystery solved. Thank you, Green.
No problem. As looks like he's ahead of, I think that's J Mags behind. Or is it? He's waiting for the leaderboard to update as he's going to cross the sector line soon. Ish.
It's halfway down near the hairpin, so a little way to go yet.
Oh, he's on sector 1.
I know. Sector 2 is even worse, and then Sector 3 is like one corner. Oh, it's not. It's just before the chicane. But yeah, it's very short last sector. I can't remember what it was. There was a circuit, and Sector 1 was like 15 seconds. It was like 2 turns. And I'm still dropping half a second.
So we see Kumar, P9, headed J Mags, 2.9 seconds off of Shady Samuel. So I believe, yeah, he did catch up quite a bit in that little bit of a train between P3 and P8, was it? Just earlier?
Yeah, it was 8 seconds behind, if I remember at one stage. So really caught up. Well driven. Well driven. Yes, we have Torfig close behind Hill. What to do here? Torfig needs to keep pushing to, with his 10-second time penalty. He's going to slip him down probably, 3 positions here. Bit risky to make a move, and also Hill doesn't want to let him through in case Torfig gets that extra 10 seconds in front of him. With 12.5 minutes to go, and that's about 6 laps, so potentially. Or do you think Torfig's just pacing himself, making a move, and that's the fastest way forward?
I reckon he'll, as the clock starts ticking down more and more, he'll start getting a bit more desperate to get past. Get some clean air, no spray, be able to see clearly.
Speaking of desperate, I don't mean it's desperate, but the race in front for P3, P4 is actually really hotting up. We have Bachtold 1.5 seconds in front of Hill. And I believe Torfig is the faster of the 3 drivers, but he's minding his position. As I say that, as he has an awkward exit. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very close finish now for P3. P3 is on. Also, P1, P2. The gap's 3.5 seconds. One slip up from JP, and yeah, that'll be a battle royale happening there.
Still very easy to make a mistake as Tawfiq takes quite a tight line, I believe, through that hairpin. Still sticking with Hill, trying to find a way past, hoping that Hill makes a mistake maybe. Going through the Schumacher S, avoiding the green stuff on entry. That's very slippery, braking in between the 100 board and the grass on the right. Going into track map, the Worsteiner curve. Hopefully I pronounced that right.
Wow, what a close exit. That orange McLaren looks really great under lights, I gotta say.
Tawfiq just had a little lift through that little kink. I'm guessing he's going to go through a very speedy exit. Try and catch up to Johnson as Johnson as well gets a good exit. Tawfiq brakes a little bit late. Hoping that he gets a good slipstream down the main straight. Still gaps quite a bit.
The McLaren is a normally aspirated car, because I know the Ferrari's got a turbo, so it's got a little bit of a lag there. And the
Yeah.
Porsche in front is normally aspirated.
Yeah, I believe the McLaren's naturally aspirated. I don't hear any turbo while I'm in there.
Okay, that's probably why you can get away from the final corner quite well. Whoa, a little deep there, Mr. Braking Mark. We'll see how and this is a testament to how fast Torfig actually is there. See how quickly he can close up. That little drop of time there, only 0.3. That'll probably stretch out to 0.5, 0.6 now.
Yeah, 0.5, 0.6. Maybe lost, about 2-3 tenths in that little mistake.
Still well kept, as Hill's only 1.5 seconds behind Bechtold, and Kai Ruden out front is 3.3 seconds behind JP. And Bechtold is 30 seconds behind P2, so P2 and P1 definitely fighting it out for themselves. And as we drive on board with Hill, with the driver-only wiper, is that right? I think that's right. It doesn't go to all screen, just covers the driver's view.
Yes, I think so. Probably just saving a bit of weight for the McLaren there. About 100
that's it.
grams.
Why not? It all adds up. How's the exit? Looking pretty good. Not a lot of wheel activity. It's under control. Let's see if you can pick a lift.
I believe car 765 just went off at the forward curve. Hoping that was just maybe a little mistake, didn't hit the wall. They can just continue on.
Saw that. And the car behind, very close behind. So hopefully a good... Oh, a little bit crossed up there for Hill, going through the final sector. Bechtold is closing in. That's about 0.3 there. Torfik's dropped an extra 0.2 behind from the last lap, as we were saying. This is going to be very interesting. Bechtold holding on. I'm not sure if he's won a race before. I've known Bechtold for a little while. He's a very good Porsche driver, but I don't know his results. So if anyone can help me with that, that'd be greatly appreciated.
You can have a look now if you would like.
Oh, here we go. Gorilla Snapper. Macca is a 3.9 litre TT V8. TT meaning twin turbo?
I believe so.
Or tin top?
Tint up.
That's the old days when I think when they had LMP2 cars, they were open cockpit LMP2 cars. I got a yes, but I take that for my first statement.
Don't believe there'll be a tin top.
Yeah, they're all tin tops. Actually, no, I think they're plastic. Anyhow, you're going to say
3.9 litre. It's a bit small of an engine. I'm quite surprised by that, actually.
as the time's ticking down. We've got 7.5 minutes to go. JP Sonicus stretching the lead out to 4 seconds now over Ali Kairudin, who has the fastest lap of the race. Bechtold is just holding off Hill. That's going to be a very close finish. I think this is going to be the one to watch to the end. Not saying that they should have all the camera time, but this will be this is the one that's undecided, I think. And also Torfig getting past Hill. That's also going to be very interesting. And then finishing at the top 10, we have Johnson, Dreyer, Samuel, and Kuma and Mags. So Kuma's done a great job. He was quite far behind in P9, and the gap's closed up.
Yeah, I think the extreme undercut for Keys have worked out. This is P11 now. So quite a long stint for probably about 15 minutes, yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He'll be tired after this one.
And Maddox, P15 with a pit lane start. Whoa, a bit of sideways movement from Bechtold going through the corner. We're riding on board now with Kairudin. So we got in front of we have a back marker in front, then another back marker, and then it was the orange car of JP, or the yellow car of JP. So 3 cars in front. just pointing out that Torfik's now stretched a 10-second gap now to Johnson, so he will maintain his position. Good driving there.
Very tricky to get a big gap like that in these conditions. As Kyrudin just went a bit wide, got on the gravel on exit there. Maybe lost a bit of time to JP Sonicus. As goes wide again. Oof. It's quite a ways off.
I think he's been doing that all the races. If you watch him go through the exit of the Washwaster curve, you'll find that he'll go wide again. He'll drive on the green. There we go. Great car control. Do you think you can pick a lift here?
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a big lift. Maybe error underwash, potentially, as a blue flag gets in the way. That would have been a good place to let through, easing up. Blue flag driver probably having a difficult time through the final chicane there. As he flashed his lights to let Ali know that he's letting him through. Unfortunate though. I don't think Ali was too impressed. Sorry, folks. I was flipping between screens. I was commentating the live stream. Sorry about that.
There's nearly a bit wide again for Kyrudin. Just kept it on the track. Gap's extended to 5.7 seconds. So that mistake coming on the back straight might have cost him a second or two. JP Sonicus with about 2-3 laps remaining. Be tricky to game back up to JP Sonicus.
Yeah, that might have been from the blue flag when I was commentating on the delay feed. As we're watching Batchtol keep ahead of Hill. Torfik's still close, but not that far, and stretching out from Johnson. And P6 and P7 also very close together as well. Two McLarens battling it out, so it's going to be who's got the better tyres, setup and driver skill.
As Hill goes wide, it just touches the gravel coming out of the hairpin in the second sector. Dunlop curve.
That was actually well done to keep that on the circuit. Oh no!
Coming out of Schumacher S's. Big mistake there. Cost him a bit of time. I believe he hit the wall. That might let Tofik get through. Hopefully he'll have enough, or doesn't have too much damage that he has to pit. That's a big shame.
Oh, that was a big shame. It was a big shame. Pushing very hard to the end. We're looking at where the lead is now. They're going just past through turn 1, so 2 more laps to go. I'm just mesmerised by watching the spray and the cars sliding through the corners as these guys are pushing very, very hard.
Car's gone off on the main straight, just a little spin. Maybe, as you said, quite a bit earlier. The curbing is quite slippery on the final corner on the inside, so maybe just got caught out by that.
Yeah, the inside curbing.
Was that Hill that went off?
Ooh.
I believe that was, yes, Hill went deep at turn 1. Very easy to do in these conditions, so that's two cars in a row actually gone off. Yeah,
especially with the time going down. I wouldn't expect that really with an hour race with a pit stop in the middle. I wouldn't suggest it be tyres. There's the car at the last turn's starting to get going again. Had a difficult time getting going.
I just believe he was doing a very safe rejoin, which we of course love to see.
Oh, absolutely. Split Blood has been very tame tonight with the rains. It's cooled all the temperature down, cooled everyone off, and had some very exciting racing tonight. Some very good races by a lot of people. Just saw Ali Kyrudin's gap stretched to 5.7.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say now that Kyrudin will not gain that time back, as we see maybe what happened to Bechtold. Just caught out a bit of oversteer and just overcorrected, I believe. He did hit the wall, slight tap, It's
Just
really
a little
important.
kiss. Decent rejoin. Stayed to the side and didn't try to block the car behind. Yeah, the car really got twitchy right in the middle there. Didn't look like he rode any curbs.
No, maybe just went off the line just a tiny bit and lost the amount of grip.
Okay, we got 15 seconds to go, so the time is going to finish. Leader is heading down to turn 6, turn 7, so it's definitely the last lap. Hill is 1.9 seconds behind Torfik, who has a 10-second penalty, who's in P3. So if Hill keeps it straight, he'll be finishing on the podium with less than 1 lap to go.
So 3 silvers in the top 10. They might be getting upgraded to pro class maybe, because I believe the results for today might help out with the new grading system. How we got.
Okay. Well,
yes, they
that
weren't
is news.
finalized. Yeah, they weren't finalized. I believe the admins just guessed a few paces from previous results, and they're looking at the results now to
Okay.
finalize the classes.
That's very interesting, because we have Pro-Am Kumar in P10.
Yes, he might be getting booted up to silver.
Upgrade. We'll call it an upgrade. Boot up sounds a bit harsh. Sounds like you've done something wrong. As the lead is coming through the NGK chicane and leading into the final corner now. And that's a great race by John P.S. Sonicus as he comes across the line. Well done. A well-managed race. I think he drove his heart out there. Flashing the lights, very happy to win. Ali Karudin coming through. Also flashing lights, happy with the second place. I think those two drivers were pushing as hard as they could. Torfi currently in P3 with a penalty coming down the back straight. We'll have to wait and see how this all turns out as a few more drivers start crossing the line in P17, 18, 19 and 2021.
So I believe Tofik will be at the end of the race down to P5, just ahead of Johnson with the 10-second time penalty.
Were the drivers slowing down before the line, the flag?
I believe so.
That's interesting. So we had Torfik, Hill, and Bachtel cross the line, so the game will sort themselves out. Johnson in P6, Samuel 7th, Dreyer 8th, Mags finishing 9th, Kumar, well done for a P10. Well done, man. Pro-Am, P10. And who else is coming through? Got a few more cars coming, haven't crossed the line yet, waiting for Keys and P11 to come through. A little bit of way back. Some donuts at the end of turn 1. As we go, Keys and Zahali have crossed the line. Zikri coming through the final corner now. Got 5 more cars to finish. Rain still coming down. Heavy rain. As we have Zikri's about to go and cross the line. Good job. And 2 more cars. We have Maddox, who started from the pit lane from qualified P15, I believe, started from the pit lane and finishing P15. Rochford finishing the race, and still 2 more cars for. We had Gary Lau finish P26 in AM class, leader AM, well done. And P25 is in the pits without. P25 still needs to complete the final lap. So Diallo, car number 333, still green. Not sure what's happened there. We'll find out post-race. We'll see what happens.
I believe he was the car that stopped before the line.
Well, we'll see how the game sorts it out at the end. We'll keep an eye on Gary and see if he makes a position for being lapped down. And that is the end of the race, Nurburgring Round 4 with the Simrigs and Octane Online Racing Sprint Series. Would you like to call the final in plates? This is going to be tricky. We're waiting for the game to click over for finish. If driver and car number 333, if you could just finish the lap.
So
Tricky
someone in
one.
the comments say might have run out of fuel for the line.
Oh, yeah, that could be a thing. Okay, session's changed. Race is over. Just bringing out the final plates now. Who would you say would be your driver of the day?
My driver of the day, probably Keys. He'll be up there. Finished what, P11, P10.
Yeah,
Great.
that's a good drive.
Yeah, good strategy. Long stint at the end.
Yeah, I thought Kuma did a good race for P10.
Kuma, yeah, solid race.
Back
I
told.
mean, back
Was
told
doing-
you.
Doing good. Just at one moment, it just went a bit crazy on him. And here we go. The race ends. So Kyrene with the fastest lap. So overall, we have JP Sonicus, Kyrene, Hill, Backtold, Tawfik, Johnson, Samuel, Dreyer, Mags, and Kuma finishing at the top 10s. We have silver class, which is the next ones down. So Backtold is winning silver class. Well done. Johnson and Dreyer finishing at the podium in the McLarens. Pro-Ans, we have Kuma, well done. Zikri and Wyatt. The Bentley finishing P2 in Pro-An class, well done. And winner, Gary Lau. If you could just go back to overall and slide down to Gary Lau, if you could, Mr. TV Director, what happened at the end? Did he get in front? No, he did not get in front of the yellow. Okay, that also, 2 mysteries solved. And unfortunately, Richardson, Fleming, and John Sonicus not making it to the end.
So I just got confirmation. Apparently, car 333 did run out of fuel just before the line, which is heartbreaking for that driver. Maybe if he just had probably 0.1 more liters of fuel, would have made it.
You could have thought somebody would give him a push.
If someone could have given a push, maybe
Yeah.
it might have helped.
That was a good race tonight. Heavy rain, lots of rain, dark, a lot of good racing. Actually, I thought that overall that was a very clean race. Very tricky conditions. I think everyone's done very well.
I believe that's 2 races in a row. Blood hasn't lived up to the name, which is a good thing.
Still time at Paul Ricard.
Okay. That'll do us for tonight. Thank you guys for another good call. Looking forward to the GT3 Cup knockout round final of the 4 knockout rounds tomorrow night, and we'll catch everybody then. Thanks, chat. Thanks, everyone.
And also don't forget the European and the American legs in the Simrigs Sprint Series tonight. Or have they already been?
No,
Yeah,
they're on
Tonight.
They're on tonight.
Yeah, the buy round that we had in Split Green really threw me out a little bit.
Cheers.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.